Good afternoon, Mech Warriors. Good afternoon, Mech Techs. And good afternoon, Nobles in Hiding. We are back. And I hope my microphone's picking it up because we've got a new mic setup. And I hope we're coming through good because I want to make sure that I'm investing in things that will make the stream more enjoyable for you all. So let me know, is the mic improved? Is it about the same? I'd like to find out. So what are we going to do today? Well, first off, we're going to say hello to the wonderful people in chat. Hello, Radar651. Hello, BZ Retribution. And one day I will remember that C in the middle of B and Z, but until then, you are BZ Retribution. And, of course, hello, Terrace. There's one other person I spotted in chat earlier. Feisman. Yes, hello, Feisman. Glad you could join us. And hello, Fox Darrow. Let me say that again. Hello, Fox Darrow. And Fox Darrow, it's lucky you're here because you are literally the person I'm next about to talk about. Because I want to say a big thank you to Fox Darrow for following me a good princely 19 hours ago. So while we were off stream, Fox Darrow was amazing. Came along, saw what we were doing here and decided they wanted in. So I'm really, really grateful for that, Fox Darrow. Thank you so much for the follow. It's I know I say this every time, and I do want to clarify, it never, despite me saying it every time, I'm saying it every time because I feel it every time. And I'm so incredibly touched that so many of you find what I do here entertaining enough and maybe educational enough that you're willing to give us a follow or maybe a subscription. And I really appreciate that. Fox Darrow says they're normally working when you stream, but I'm glad they could catch this one. I'm glad you could catch it too. And just to make you all aware, assuming I don't forget, and if any of you have been on the MekHQ Discord for long enough will know I forget frequently, but assuming I don't forget, the VODs are generally available on Twitch immediately as the stream ends. It's my first task as soon as the stream ends. So definitely, if you ever miss a stream and you want to see what happened, or you're working in a weird time zone, you can just pop it on. And YouTube, we have a YouTube channel. There should be a link in the About section somewhere. And the YouTube channel, it's a little bit more delayed because I have to go through the process of downloading from Twitch, just, sorting out the audio and all the other jazz. So do be aware that YouTube lags a bit behind, but it's generally available. My current schedule, and that's what I'm kind of doing this week, so it's going to be a little bit wonky this week, but my current schedule for YouTube uploads will be, we skip Monday and Tuesday, but other than Monday and Tuesday, you should have an upload every day of the week. They will be VODs. I might do some specially made stuff later, but right now I'm just kind of YouTube's a secondary option. But let's talk about what we're going to do today. Well, first of all, I'm going to get my mighty fine coffee. Sippity sippity. I do love coffee. We are going to be doing a few things. First of all, I want to talk to you about my morning. So yeah, the caffeine ration, exactly, Tiris. I want to talk about my morning. My morning has been an event. So first of all, I woke up and my darling child, Mr. Bear, one of my four dogs, Mr. Bear, had left a little brown parcel in the middle of the living room for me. And I know it was Mr. Bear because when I went, my dogs are pretty good. They don't tend to potty in the house very often, but I can always tell when the parcel was a gift from Mr. Bear because it's not a parcel. It's a goddamn brown mountain, and it is horrific. And if I have to suffer through this, I want you all to have the mental image. I just need you. I just need to transmit this psychically into your brains. It's this giant brown mountain just sitting stinkily in the middle of my living room. So that was the start of my day. Then it comes to time to set up the stream, and I'm very happy because we've got a brand new mic arm, so the microphone no longer has to live a million miles away from me, so that when I'm typing, I'm not just exploding your ear holes. And so we got a new mic arm, so I'm setting that up, and it's all very good. And I'm like, okay, time to get going. I've done my test stream, which I actually remember to do this time, so all of the scenes should work. They shouldn't go to the black void this time. So I'm like, okay, that's all set up. And then let's go ahead and announce the stream. So we got the stream started. I'm like, okay, let's announce the stream. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to Discord. And on the MegaMek Discord, we have a fantastic channel that all the people who stream. Sorry, okay, I'm gonna have to learn how to do this. The microphone pop filter arm is right when my hand gesticulates, so I may need to adjust that. So I do apologize if I keep knocking it during the stream. But let's nip over to Discord. Boop. Now, this channel, this is the video and streams channel. So this is where all the wonderful people like Joker and Hecking announce their streams. We've got Hecking up here. And I always try to announce my streams for people who are just passing through can see what we're doing and jump in. And sometimes Hammer does an at here, and then we get complaints from people who don't want to be notified. But if I scroll down, you can see what I was dealing with this morning. So you notice how these all read. Anybody who's tried saying a naughty word on the official MegaMek Discord will know this is the red that the auto mod has blocked your post. So I'm like, okay, let's look at the post. I'm like, okay, we're mentioning spit and edge for spit and polish projects and edge triggers. Maybe that's it. So I kind of adjust spit and polish to QA polish project, and it's still triggering. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's edge. So we just drop the edge entirely. And it's still not going through, and we're trying it again and again and again. And I talk to the administrators on the wonderful MekHQ official Discord. It turns out AutoMod is blocking it for spam content. So apparently AutoMod has opinions about this stream, and the opinions are not good. We still don't know what was triggering it, because as you can see on the bottom there, it went out successfully. But for whatever reason, AutoMod absolutely hated me talking about my new mic setup. Anytime I just even casually dropped in the word mic, AutoMod would nuke it. Radar651 says AutoMod is clearly a wobby spy. Exactly. Tira says Comstar's suppressing the truth. Exactly. This is it. This is what I deal with. But yeah, apparently BC Retribution says weird on my end, 2 copies posted. I don't know. AutoMod, I've been talking to Hammer about replacing our battery of mods, and I know Hammer's super busy right now, so it probably won't be this side of the release of 51.0, which is, by the way, team, very close. We have the official dates, and I can't tell you them. All I can tell you is it's very close. And assuming we don't break it in the final days, it's going to be a really good release. If you've been following the Scrotorious Bastards, our ongoing MekHQ campaign, which streams Friday evenings, you can check the schedule for when. You'll see that you'll see that the what was I going to say? Oh yeah, that we've been running a preview of version 51.0. It is a very, knock on wood, it is a very, very stable version. So fingers crossed that remains the way. Pathstrider Art says, ooh, the mic is nice. Yes, thank you so much, Pathstrider. I'm really happy with the new mic arm. Because the thing is, it is the same mic. It is the same mic settings. I haven't adjusted the settings on my mic at all. It's just amazing what happens when the mic isn't 3 foot from your face. Tira says, I claim no responsibility for missing any potentially game-breaking bugs between now and then. Exactly that. And I say it's going to be a stable release. I think we all know Joker's lads are going to break it. That's just how it happens. Joker's going to come into this and we're going to say, oh, Joker, this is a really stable release. And Joker's going to crack his knuckles and say, leave it to me. Weissman says, hopefully not until after the weekend. 8 won't be able to join Joker's stream. I'll be at the Con Carolinas playing Tabletop BattleTech. Oh, I haven't played Tabletop BattleTech in an awfully long time. When me and my wife move, which hopefully will be very soon, I'm hoping to find a BattleTech community in the area we'll be moving to. Radar says either Joker is going to break it, Knight is going to break it, or my group is going to break it because we found some strange bug. No one uses certain things. Yeah, so if you're using the obscure tech, that's generally where you're going to get bugs, because that stuff just isn't used by enough people for us to find it. Tara says, I always think this stuff is stable, and then someone appears using some sort of obscure rule I've never heard about, and it breaks literally everything that's ever existed. Yeah, no, that is how it works, because the thing is, we don't have... We have a QA team, but really the QA team is one person and a goat, and the goat is very overworked. Okay, that goat, it's abused, that poor goat. So we have one person and a goat in the QA team. I'll let you decide who is the one person and who's the goat. But Radar says the goat needs a tin can and some grass. Yeah, the goat is very overworked. And I love the QA team. Anybody who volunteers their time to test our rubbish is MVP in my books. But that means that unless... I don't know if you hear my cat zooming around in the background. Unless the technology is something the couple of people we have testing are actually interested in, it won't get used during the testing period, and that's how the bugs creep in. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Hades Town, but I've now got the song when doubt creeps in stuck in my head, when bugs creep in. So let's head back over to Discord. Let's decide what we're going to do today. So as you can see on the left here, the Spit and Polish project is going very, very well. It is now closed now. I should probably lock that. Let me see. Permissions. Create posts. Nobody can create posts now. Yeah, I don't care about that. Discord, go away. So the Spit and Polish project, it is no longer accepting new submissions. I'll put an announcement about that later. But yeah, it's been very successful. We've got somewhere in the region, and I think at this point it might be an under exaggeration. Last time I checked, we had between 20 and 30 individual patches just related to the Spit and Polish project. I think that might be up to 30 to 40 by this point. It has been a huge success. But one of the things I want to do today, let me see if I can find it. There we are. So we received a report. Let's scroll to the top here. As you can see, auto level wastes XP on RP skills. So I did some investigation, and the report we received from this user was that basically when you run an auto level, and anybody's not aware, a quick level, I think it's quick skill, I think we called it, maybe quick train, either way. When we implemented it, we included some intelligence to it so that it will go, okay, what are my primary skills for my profession? And do I have any ancillary stuff, any utility skills, like the stuff that's used for scouting or prison breaks, that sort of stuff. And so that's built in. But the thing is, you might not always want prison break skills to be trained. You might not always want scouting skills to be trained. And so we need to include some tech to allow you to pick that. So what we're going to do to start off with is we're going to boot up MekHQ, and we're going to have a look and see what we're working with. Oh, it helps if I wait for MekHQ to boot before I switch over to it, so we'll hold that off for a second. Radar651 says, Frank and Mex were spared for me breaking it too hard since Drake nearly nailed it in one shot. Drake is a machine that takes in ideas and spits out high quality code. No, Drake is fantastic. If anybody's unaware, Drake is effectively the one-man bug-killing machine behind MekBay. And if you're doing in-person BattleTech, you should absolutely try MekBay. MekBay is brilliant. It is, without a doubt, the best. And obviously I'm going to be biased, but it is, in my eyes, the best... What's the word? The best tool for tabletop BattleTech, for digitized tool for managing units. Not just because it was made by the MegaMek team, so it is obviously very good, but because it's using modern language. It is web app based, so that you can access it from anywhere, and it accepts most unit types. Radar says it also doesn't steal art. It does, exactly. Oh, this isn't going to help. I forgot to include this. So if you don't actually select anybody when you launch Quick Train, it tells you off. So cancel. Whoops, I forgot to select anybody. So let's add some mech warriors. Where are they? There they are. There we go. Oh, I added a bunch of people. Apparently I didn't need to. I forgot I used that. It doesn't matter, So we're going to go to Quick Train. Boop. So let's see here. I think what we're going to want to do is we've got the target level here. That's useful. I think we need to add some checkboxes below it. Now, bear with me just a second. I'm just going to wheel away from the microphone. Here I am, wheeling away. And I'm just going to turn my fan on because right now I am getting the Mech Warrior experience. I am just baking in my chair. Tiras comments that MekBay also kind of manifested as one of the best list building tools ever. Yeah, MekBay is genuinely good. Okay, so we know what we're working with. Let's switch over back to IntelliJ. Let's create ourselves a branch and see what we can work with. I'm going to go ahead and leave MekHQ running for now. I'm going to call this Quick Train Improvements. And we're probably going to do this and then some bug fixes. I did start going for the bug queue yesterday. I knocked out a huge amount of code off stream. Because I mentioned this before, I do enjoy streaming. I like working with you all, but it definitely slows me down because I can't just zero in and let the autism take over. Radar651 says once MekBay and MegaMek get proper integration with each other, it's going to be one hell of a software suite for GMs and players. It could happen sooner than you think. Now, I'm not at liberty to discuss other people's projects, but I believe that is on the docket. I don't know when it's coming, but it's almost certainly coming. Okay, so let's go into Quick Train. Are we using... Okay, so first of all, we're going to have a look at the class. So we're not expanding anything. That's good. Because if this was expanding the immersive dialogue class, we would have less options. But it's not, so we don't. Hooray! So here's we're just setting up all of the settings to determine what we're using. Hi, Bandit. Hi, buddy. Are you doing okay? You want to say hello to the good people? You going to say hello, Bandit? No? You want up in your house? There you go. Up in your house. There you go. He has a desk bed right next to my computer. Oh, no, he doesn't want in the mouse. Bandit, you can't nuzzle the microphone. The good people don't want to hear you eating the microphone. Yes, I know it's... No, you can't lick. You can't lick the microphone. The microphone doesn't want kisses. I think Bandit just declared that he is, in fact, the boss of the microphone. Easy Retribution says, speak for yourself. Hi, Bandit. He has gone... He is... because when I'm working normally, I'm sat in monastic silence. And so whenever I'm on stream, because I'm talking, the cats, particularly Bandit, just gets really excited. Meanwhile, my dogs are just conked out on the couch. Bandit says, Parsitis says Bandit can give kisses to whatever he wants. It's true. Okay, but so this is basically what we're setting up here. We're setting up some option filters. So for example, if we're using if we have the small arms only option enabled, we have that classified here stored, and we're going to use that later. But what we really need to do is add some UI elements. And I hate setting up UI on stream because I'm not very good at it. But let's see what we can do. So what I'm looking for now is just setting... Actually, if I scroll to the top. This is process Quick Train. Where are we accessing Quick Train? There needs to be UI. We're not just materializing Quick Train from nowhere. So where are we in actually initializing it? Because here we're initializing a whole bunch of options. Here we're figuring out the target personnel. Okay, and this is where we jump back over to MekHQ. Because as a developer, grokking, I mentioned this before, grokking is where you just kind of feeling your way through the code base. And one of the best tools for grokking is user-facing content, because if you know that this dialog uses this text, I agree with folks could use some training, it means you can search in the code for that text. So let's switch over. And we're going to search for I agree. There we go. And this is going to take us to where the UI is. Quick train dialog, that's what we're looking for. So we're looking for the quick train dialog class. There we go. She blows. The great white whale. This is what I was hoping wouldn't be the case. So it's extending the immersive dialogue core. And the immersive dialogues are all those lovely dialogues that have like they're just beautified and are consistent. Compared to our old dialogues, which were very much just, I'm sure many of you remember how they used to look. They didn't look great. But the problem is the immersive dialogue core is relatively rigid. As there's one of the benefits of making it consistent, it tends to be a little bit rigid. But we can implement a supplemental pane. Let's see here. Radar651 says, I know when I use Notepad++ as my main dev tool because I didn't know any better. I did a lot of grokking to find things, especially if I was unfamiliar with something. So yeah, no, I am also a veteran of the school of Notepad++. One of my saddest moments. So I don't regret moving to Mac from Windows at all. I cannot stand Windows. But I do miss Notepad++. Notepad++ is a fantastic bit of kit. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. So we're going to create a JCheck box. Call it a test because we're not sure if this is going to work. And if I remember correctly, we put a label here, test label. So we're just going to pop this in here. We're going to see what we can work with. See how this is going to work. Because it's been a long time since I made the core, and I'm not wholly sure. Test. So we're just testing, see how accessible this is. How are we accessing the spinner value? This will give us some information. Just returning spinner value. How are we going to do this? Because we don't actually have. So there's the easy way to do this, and then there's the pain in the ass way to do this. Because the easy way to do this, as in like the way that would be the most easiest for the user, would be checkboxes, but we don't actually seem to have checkboxes set up in, so we'd need to actually add that to immersive dialogue core. But we have the quick train dialogue here. So what if we defined it at the class level? Radar says, I keep Notepad++ on hand for small edits or when I forget to write down a board size. Yeah, Notepad++ definitely has its uses. So what we're going to do, we're going to see if we can add the checkbox at the class level and then access it later. Because if we can do that will be fantastic. So we're going to create a private static. It has to be a static. It's JCheckbox. No, we don't want to do the checkbox. We need a static boolean. I'm just going to leave that as we're going to leave that as false. So booleans always initialize as false, but we just want to define that here. Let's see here. So this does need to be J checkbox. Is that going to work? No. So I'm just kind of bodging my way through this. What we actually want to do, rather than the boolean, because we can fetch a boolean, we are in fact going to have the checkbox. So I'm going to call this check test box. I'm going to initialize it as a new J checkbox. Now we could define this later, but we're just defining it here right now. So let's jump back down to where we were a second ago. So we don't need to define that there. Let's see. We do need to add it though. That's okay. And then what we do, we then create a public boolean. Boolean is test checked. And we're going to return if it's selected. Let's head back to personnel tab. And if this works, we are free to go. So now we're going to need to launch MekHQ in debug mode. So that's the little bug up here. Now, if you're ever using IntelliJ, you may find that your UI looks a little bit different to mine. I have some, I nearly call them mods, like IntelliJ Skyrim. I have some plugins that make it a little bit prettier, and I need that just because I work so much in IntelliJ. I need the visual clarity. How is everybody today? I hope you're all having a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. I've mentioned this before. I'm on a new med, and the new medication makes me sensitive to caffeine. You're all pretty much aware of that at this point. However, load last save. However, it also kind of, I don't want to say it kicks in, but a day or two after I take it, I just get hit with exhaustion, and that, unfortunately, it hit today. And I was very tired this morning. Now, bear with me just a second. I can hear Tiger clacking in the background, so I think she wants to go back out. So I'm just going to quickly let Tiger back outside. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Let's slip ourselves over to back into IntelliJ. Doop-a-doo-doop. There we are. Fox Darrow says, I've got a day off work and get to watch something I requested to get implemented into one of my favorite games, so I'm doing great. I'm glad to hear that, Fox. Radar says they're doing okay. Weekend was meh. My group ended up activating our contract's exit clause for BattleTech, and Dorian was turning into Afghanistan for us. Bleeding equipment for little gains. You definitely get contracts like that, absolutely. Dooba-dooba-doo. Let's just grab a couple of mech warriors. So what we're doing here, we're just going to launch Quick Train, and we're going to see if our breakpoints get hit. So we're just going to go, it doesn't really matter. Perfect. So the spinner value should return false because we have it initializing as false. Now, if I was smart, I would initialize it as true. We may need to run this test again. Let's see here. You're going to give me what I want. Okay, fine. We'll move past that breakpoint. Okay, test is false. All right, so let's just redo this test. I wasn't very smart. That shouldn't be a surprise to anybody who follows this for a while. What we need to do is we need to check it. So, check test box. Set selected true. We might need to do that after we... No, it doesn't really matter. The order's fine. So let's just relaunch our test. So we now know we can return a value. So the last test wasn't a waste of time. We now know we can return a value. What we're going to do now, we're going to double check that we're returning the right value. And if we are, we're absolutely sorted. Like we can add any checkbox we want at this point. Now we do need to be careful. We don't want to flood the user in checkboxes. But just having a little bit of control helps. So let's load last save. Let's switch over to MekHQ. So again, we're just waiting to see those breakpoints. And I'm going to try to remember to actually switch back to IntelliJ when we do hit those breakpoints this time. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, I mentioned this during the wind-up for stream, but we have our first emote. Let me just pop it in chat. It is IllianiDev. That didn't work. I don't know how to do it, but I can do it this way, manually. Oh, I see. Let me see, just have a look at this. It is Illiani, lowercase, capital F, fried. There we go. And anybody who joins us for our weekly MekHQ campaign will recognize that as the hero of the campaign, Flash Fried. That's her persona. And that emote is available for anybody who follows. Twitch says I needed to give followers emotes, and that's what we came up with. There will be more emotes coming. I've got a couple of artists lined up, very, very talented people. But right now, if you're a follower, you get access to the Flash Fried emote, which I'm sure you will use everywhere. Clearly, it is the most desirable of emotes. Okay, so we are hitting our breakpoints. Let's switch back to IntelliJ. So we're wanting the second breakpoint to equal true. It does. Fantastic. Okay, so we are in the clear. Let's stop that. Let's get rid of these breakpoints. We don't care about these anymore. This is fantastic. This is going to really make blow our options wide open. So we're going to revert personnel tab. We don't want to have these test options lying around because that'd be very embarrassing. We do need quick train. We don't need immersive dialog core. So we're going to need properties though. Let me see here. So suppose we have a look at quick train and see what we're actually storing, because that's going to give us some options. So these are determined by campaign options, but is artillery. So what we're going to do here, we're going to leave some notes for us to tell us what we need to do. So we need level artillery, because not everybody is going to want to level artillery for every character. Small arms, that's fine. Level scouting skills. Let me just see. So I think appraisal, if you're using the appraisal option, you're going to want to have appraisal on all your personnel, procurement personnel. So I don't think we need to add that in there. We probably... Definitely want to have an option for escape skills. And they also have management skills. You're not going to want management skills on everybody. And that's whether we should train leadership. But also we're going to want to level tactics, strategy, and leadership. So management skills is just leadership. And then we'll have one for adding tactics and strategy as well. So this is going to give us our 5 checkboxes. Forced Arrow says maybe also one for leadership skills. Yeah, exactly. We're gonna pop that in there. So we're gonna have the option: do you want to level artillery, scouting skills, escape skills, management skills, and tactics or strategy? BZ Retribution says admin and or negotiation. That is already handled. So what we do up here is we're checking: do admins have negotiation turned on? Do doctors use administration? Do techs use administration? If those options are enabled, we're automatically going to level those skills for those types of character. Because of how administration and negotiation work, you want those on all admins. You want those on all doctors, all techs. It's not going to be a situation where you might go, okay, well, this one I don't want negotiation. You want it on everybody who's an admin, for example. Artillery, you might only want on certain professions, like vehicle crew. Now, we do want to pass in some values. So we're going to scroll up here. Because the thing is, these are determined ahead of time. And I feel like we need to break that out. Let's create a record. We can create a record, and I'll explain what a record is in a minute. We can create a record, and then we can add all this information into the record, and then we can fetch it straight out of the record. And then all we need to do is just pass the record around rather than all of this stuff. That makes sense. We're going to want it in quick train. So now you have to bear with me. I'm going to need to remember how to create a record. It has been a while. No, that's not. How are we doing it elsewhere? Now, while I'm hunting down an example of one of my older records so I can just copy my homework, I want to explain what a record is. So a record is an object that can store information. So you might have a record of a person that I don't know, includes their skin color, their hair color, their eye color. These are pure examples. Do I use any records in here? But the thing with a record is it's very small, it's very lightweight, which is really nice. But it's records, perfect, there we go. You'll do. But the thing with a record is it's non-changeable. So whatever information is stored in the record cannot be changed. So if you have a record that has hair color, you cannot then have a you cannot then go back in and go, okay, well they dyed their hair, they've now changed from brown hair color to blue hair color. That's not how it works. So let's have a look what we actually want to store, because we're going to store all these booleans in the record. I think that makes sense. Have to remember where to add these. So what we'll do, for example, we're just going to define if admins have negotiation, if techs have negotiation, all that good stuff. I want the Boolean here. And then what we'll do is we're just going to pass campaign options in and then have the record build itself. Good old copying and pasting, definitely the most riveting of programming, but that's just how it goes. Now this will be a good area to use an AI, honestly. Just say, hey, here's my variables, make me a record. But the amount of time it would take to get an AI set up, do all the faff, boil a few lakes, might as well just do it ourselves. Funnily enough, the record and then passing in a small amount of information and then having the record build itself is actually something we're using in the upcoming life path builder, which we merged. It won't be in 51.0, so you won't be able to play with it in 51.0, but it will be in 51.01. I mentioned this before, but it doesn't allow you to build characters with life paths. It just allows you to build life paths. It's a essential tool for us being able to add the ability to build characters with life paths, and we figured we'd add that in sooner rather than later. Okay, so this is going to be all of our cached information. We're not going to need to know. So some of this information is actually not worth storing. So let's have a look at what we're actually building again, because we can probably make the record a little bit smaller. I kind of over-egged the pudding a little bit because we don't need everything in the record. We just need some things. Where are my copy? Where are my? Oh, I'm not in the right one. I need dialog. There we go. Okay, so we need to know if artillery is enabled. We need to know if StratCon is enabled because that's used elsewhere. We need to know scouting. Yeah. Appraisal, you're going to want that on every procurement character. Is use management skill? No. We don't need to know the reasoning multiplier. We don't need to know the cost multiplier. We don't need to know for logging. Clan cam. Okay, so these seem to be what we're wanting. We're also going to need a Boolean for is level leadership and is level other command skills. So it's StratCon, we're actually going to remove that, but we're not yet. So this here is where we are going to create it, if I remember correctly. See if I can remember exactly how to do this. Apparently I can't spell, though that isn't a surprise to anybody. So what we're doing here, we have two constructors. You have the default record constructor, and then you have one that you pass in campaign options. And if we're passing in campaign options, we're now going to effectively duplicate some of our work over here. So let's just coupe paste. So first up, we need artillery. That's fine, that error should clear in a second. Small arms we don't care about. StratCon we do. But now that we've got StratCon in here, we can get rid of that. Because StratCon's just being used to determine what we've got here. Should we train scouting skills? Yes. Should we train escape skills? Yes. Should we train appraisal? Automatic. Management, so that's leadership. And we don't need to... Yeah, we're just gonna initialize this as true. There's a reason for this. We don't want, because we're passing all this other stuff in, we might as well also pass in this, and we're just gonna have it always equal true. So it's level artillery. So this is basically going to be our default values. This level scouting, escape skills, level leadership, and we're always going to have a default value under the assumption that you're going to want to level command skills. Now, we are going to do a little bit more logic elsewhere for that. It's, we just specifically need a default value. So now we're then going to return event result, which we're going to rename in a second, is level artillery, is level scout, is level escape, is level leadership, is level other. There we go. Okay, why are you throwing an error? Oh, whoopsie-doodles. There we go. Why are you still throwing an error? All right. We'll do this. Build event result. We're gonna have to have booleans on this. We are. Why did I get rid of the booleans? I just did something wrong. There we go. Okay, so that's we're gonna call build event result, and that's gonna return a record that contains this. So we do need to rename this. So we're gonna call this quick skill option record. Okay, so we're doing quick skill option record, which means we can actually get rid of some of these, kind of. Oh, IntelliJ is having a moment. We'll just wait for it to finish having its aneurysm. Has IntelliJ just straight up crashed? That is what we're going to wonder. IntelliJ? My computer is at this point nearly, well, more than half a decade old. It's a 2020 model. And 2020 was a long time ago. And so my computer isn't quite up to snuff. One day I'll get a new computer, but it shan't be today. Especially not when me and my wife are literally about to move. Okay, so it looks like IntelliJ has had a moment. So we're going to go ahead and force IntelliJ to close. If I can. It might have actually just locked up my entire computer. IntelliJ idea not responding. Nah, you think? Okay, let us reboot IntelliJ. Boop. And I hope we haven't lost too much work. Thankfully, we haven't done a lot. And IntelliJ, honestly, is very, very good at saving your work. We were in quick train. It does look like we've lost all of the record. cursors. Okay, let's see if it's stored in local history. That might allow us to save it. Ah ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. There we go. Excellent. So yeah, we only lost a couple of seconds. That's we can work with this. I used to work a lot in the Skyrim editor. That's awful. If you ever have the misfortune of being forced to work in the Skyrim editor, the Fallout 4 editor is better, but that's not saying much. The Skyrim custom engine just breaks constantly. And when I say breaks, it just crashes. It has very little in the way of autosave, and so you're constantly losing work. Tira says it just works, trademark. Yeah, it's really, really bad. Okay, so what are we doing here? So we're going to have this record. We're going to need to pass the record in, and that record's going to allow us to populate a bunch of stuff. So we actually want to pass it into the quick train dialog. So let's bring up quick train dialog, and we're going to add into its constructor as soon as I find its constructor. First of all, we're going to reset back to default because we only had test changes, so we're not too worried about that. So let's go down to quick train, and we're going to want to pass in quick train options. Do-do, do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do. So we're going to add into the supplemental panel, we're going to add in quick train options there too. I think if I close the personnel tab, it should run a little bit smoother. Radar 651 says, one of the better editors I've used over the years was the Warcraft 3 Matter editor. Yes. That was... old Blizzard was just fantastic. Activision Blizzard, I'm good. But old Blizzard was truly magnificent. So, let's make ourselves some checkboxes, shall we? So, check level artillery equals new J checkabooks. There we go. Now we are going to need to add some text to it. So we're going to add get text at, and it's already suggested what we might want to call it, and I think that's good. We also need to set it selected. Do we want to set it to selected? Here's a question. Do we want the player to have to check these manually? So when they launch Quick Train, should these be enabled by default? I'm going to go with no. I think these should all be disabled by default. Not disabled, unchecked. But we do need to determine if they're even going to be visible at all. And that's going to be determined by is level artillery. So we're only going to add this checkbox if artillery is even enabled. And that's going to give us our pattern for the rest of them. And we can probably make this a little bit simpler as well. So in a second, we're going to go ahead and make it neater. But for right now, because we're using a, we don't need to store StratCon. StratCon doesn't exist, we're only using that temporarily. We are going to go ahead and create a helper method, because we're just going to be repeating so much code here, we might as well use a helper instead. And this is another reason why I don't tend to enjoy streaming UI work, because at least in my opinion, and you folks will have to let me know. You'll have to let me know. But in my opinion, I don't think this is particularly entertaining because I'm not really problem solving so much as I am just manually editing stuff. But if it is interesting, please let me know, because if it is, I can do more UI stuff. But we're in a very fortunate position right now that we actually finally have someone on the team who has a passion for UI, and they've got some really cool changes coming. Radar651 says, one of the worst editors I ever had was a displeasure of using was Hammer. I did not know how Valve used it. I'm not familiar with that one. I've actually never used that myself. I think we're in the age now where proprietary engines just aren't worth it. If you look at all the problems that oh god, what I've completely forgotten the name of the studio now. I've also forgot the name of the game, so that's not particularly helpful. Oh god, that's gonna really bug me. BioWare made it was a film made of not a film, a game made, it was a live service game. Its name was something to do with sound, music. It began with an A. Avalanche, no. Accord, no. It doesn't really matter. Basically, BioWare was forced to make a live service game, and the engine they used was just atrocious. And it was a proprietary engine, and one of the reasons why that game failed, one of the many reasons why that game failed, but one of the reasons why that game failed was just the engine they were working with was just terrible for what they were trying to get done. It wasn't meant for what they were using at all, and it meant they were constantly fighting with the engine. CM Peterson, welcome to the chat, says it's kind of boring, but it's nice to see how you're moving through the IDE and what you're doing. Yeah, I try and make these as entertaining as possible, but there are some times in programming where it's just not entertaining. It just isn't going to be entertaining. Programming generally isn't considered a spectator sport. So you might be wondering, Illiani, why are you just copying it across? And that, wise viewer, is because I realized it was far better to have these defined at class level, because we're going to need that accessed elsewhere. Okay. But what we are going to do, if we can get rid of all these J checkboxes. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. So they're now going to use the class level ones. And they have to be static because the method we're passing them into is static. Tira says, what if we added fun programming loot boxes and base building element to fend off the bugs from elsewhere in the program? All right, why are you being grumpy? Because it's, oh, that's why, okay. There we go. So here's what we're going to be doing. Is we are going to all we're doing here is we're just turning the options on, whether they're going to be displayable to the user or not. Now, a good thing about doing this is we know full well that these are going to initialize as false. So we just need to show them if the option's enabled. Leadership. There we go. Okay. Just going to double check that we have 5 entries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 and 5, perfect. So we have got all of them. So that's going to set they're enabled. We do still need to add them. This is where it gets annoying. Like, I think this is going to work. I think this is how it's going to work. So we may have the issue here of it's just dumping everything on top of each other, and that's something we can deal with. So we've got some errors up here. Oh, we just need to import it. That's easy enough. Import. And now it's going to tell us we have a problem. And the reason we have a problem is because we need to actually create the quick train options. But that's very, very easy. Apparently we haven't got access to campaign options here. We do here now though. Okay, so let's boot it up. We're not going to need these breakpoints because we're not too worried about that right now. Satiris is talking about persistent op4 in chat, and persistent op4 is basically the holy grail. It is the feature that that people have been asking for as long as MekHQ has existed. I think we're closer than we've ever been, and I think it is something that could happen. I'm not going to say it's going to happen in the next couple of versions, but it's definitely closer than it's ever been, technology-wise. Persistent op4 requires a lot of technology. I keep knocking my mic boom. So I can't rightly say if the technology is there yet, but it's closer than it's ever been. And we have the people on the team who have a passion for things like that and who could perceivably bring it to fruition. My concern with persistent op4, and I think this is what's going to be found very quickly when we implement it, is that basically you're going to find that due to the fact that Princess herself can't really play strategically, she plays tactically on turn to turn, she can't play strategically, you're going to have contracts that consist of 1 or 2 big battles, and then the rest of the contract is absolutely nothing because you've killed everything in the first 2 fights. Weissman says they want clan pilots to fight like clan pilots are supposed to. Radar says, do we need to get Illiani a boom operator or how many times she hits her mic? So I'm going to be able to, basically it's not the mic that I'm hitting, it's specifically the pop filter. And all I need to do is just switch it onto the other side so it's not right where my hand goes. I've never worked with this setup before. This is literally the first stream that I've had this whole setup, so it just takes a little bit of getting used to. So we're going to go over to people. Let's grab a couple of nerds. There we go. Let's go quick train. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. It's dumping them all on in the one location. Let me think. Let me think a doodle. I need to remember how we do this. Jira says the thing with perma-op 4 is you kind of need like an AI to play strategically, otherwise you'll wipe them out immediately. Yeah, no, this is exactly my concern. The reason why I've never really, I mean, I've offered suggestions for permanent op 4, but it's never really been my passion. Like we had an idea for permanent op 4, but it never really left the concept stage, just because we just don't have the AI there to plan strategically, and therefore you are just slaughtering everything. Here this is what we can do. So if we go add grid Y, Pachow, Badoop. So here it is going to be super easy. We are actually going to replace. These should be what we're looking for. So this is going to be grid 0. Now we're going to just add in. There we go. You are grid 0. You are number 0. I'm not a number. I'm a free man. I have definitely aged myself with that quote. I can't imagine there's many people in chat who know where that's from. CM Peterson's also outing themselves as an oldie. Yes, the prisoner. Man, that was a fantastic show. I never really got into the American remake because it was during an era where American remakes just weren't very good. But I really enjoyed the original British version. It's very dated. It's very weird, but it's intentionally weird. And if anybody ever is curious and just wants to watch an episode, the first episode of The Prisoner, it kind of just sets up everything. And it's just a good one shot. It's a really nice, just you can just watch it and you're like, oh no, this is fine. Click past all the nonsense. Go away, go away, go away. Radar says British Top Gear better than American Top Gear. I didn't even know there was an American Top Gear, and I cannot imagine it's any. I cannot imagine a universe where American Top Gear is good. Okay, so this isn't showing at all. We should have the options enabled. So let's quit out of here. So we're setting in the grid Y. The grid Y is correct. Given that the grid Y is correct, why then? Because buttons should be on a separate panel. So this is correct. We know this is showing up. We are just going to make sure that our booleans are set up correctly. So let's just set that to true. So if that now appears, we know it's the actual issue is with either our campaign options or, oh, I'm in the wrong screen, or our, yeah, the void darkens, sorry. we either have an issue with our conditionals, or we have an issue with our campaign options. It's just going to be one of the two. We can investigate. And if you've been listening for a while and you haven't followed already, and you want to get regular Void, just staring into the abyss with your lovely British host, that's me, whispering seductively in your ear, then please hit the follow button. Hit the follow, and if you're feeling juicy, caress that subscribe. We love our followers and subscribers here. There's not much benefit to being a subscriber just yet, but we are working on some fun emotes, and I might set up a Discord at some point. But yeah, no, if you're enjoying yourself, definitely let us know by hitting the follow button. So, and let's just select nerds. Off we trot. Okay, so it's not showing up at all. We now know this is actually an issue with how we're adding it to the UI, which is a great start. Now, target level is on the wrong y-axis. So that's a clue. So if target level is on the wrong y-axis, we need to try and figure out why. Because that's most likely the root cause here. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm just going to copy this into the AI, because UI is not my passion. And we can just get the AI to tell us immediately what the issue is. And it's going to save us so much time. I don't like using AI. I kind of feel like it cheapens the experience, personally. But there reaches a point where you just have to accept that you have to accept that you're reaching a point that you need to go, okay, well, I don't understand why this isn't working. I can go on Stack Overflow, and I might get an answer that's vaguely correct, or I can just go straight to the AI and get an answer that mostly is correct. Oh, I've lost connection to the chat. There we are, I'm back again. So I'll be honest, I don't see the difference. This looks exactly the same as it did previously. It's because it is exactly the same, with this one difference. Yeah, this looks exactly the same. Oh, I see the issue. Oh, okay. That was absolutely not worth boiling an ocean for. Oh my god. Okay. So I'm going to undo the change, and we'll see if we can figure out what the issue is together. So here we're fetching the label, and we're adding the label to the component. Then we're fetching the spinner, and then we're adding the spinner to the component. And then we're adding the spinner to the component. And then we're adding the spinner to the component. And then we're adding the spinner to the component. Do you spot the pattern yet? Oh my god. Okay, that should work now. There we go. So let's boot MekHQ back up. And the thing is, that's the kind of thing I could have spent hours at this trying to work out. I'm not very smart. And it's stuff like this also is another reason why not many developers stream their work. Because if we all streamed our work, you would see that how we're all universally crap at our jobs. Stuff like what you just witnessed here it is a classic programming folly. Like I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you, oh, that never happens. It absolutely does frequently. And back in the day, you would have gone as far as posting that onto Stack Overflow, and you would have been mocked mercilessly. Stack Overflow was the place that you would go, and it still exists, but it's not used as often as it used to be. But Stack Overflow was the place that you went if you wanted your answer if you wanted a question vaguely answered, and you wanted to be mercilessly mocked. Okay. Let's see. So this is actually a really good illustration. So if you look at the UI right now, you notice how it's got an exclamation mark and then it's got our key. So this is telling us that we've actually got a missing resource here. Now we know the resource is missing because we haven't made it yet. But under the old system, so this is using the newer resource management system. Under the old system, it wouldn't have shown this at all. It would have just bricked the client. The client would have just broken immediately. So we're not using management skills, so that's normal. However, that does raise a point. There are some times where you'd actually want to use leadership even without management skills enabled. So let's head back over to IntelliJ, and we are going to go to is level leadership, and we're actually going to make leadership also true. Because there are times when even if you're not using random employee departure, you're going to want to use leadership skills. So I'm just leaving comment here for anybody who comes afterwards. My grammar checker is telling me that anyways isn't a word. I am confident anyways is a word. I use it so much it has to be. There we go. So this is an example of a good comment. It's a comment that's going to always be universally true until this like fundamentally changes, and it is just giving context to why a thing's working the way it is. So let's head back over to MekHQ. Artillery, we're not using artillery, so that's correct, because you're not going to want to level artillery if you're not even using the skill, and these will only show. Okay, so this is all good. This is exactly what we're looking for. Okay, so let's just change it. Just change our mind. Let's close out of this. Head back to IntelliJ. Boop. Okay, let's think. So we now have the dialogue set up correctly. We do need to add the values. So let's go back in to do that. This won't take long. So we actually define that all the way at the top. I need to find a bit more of an exciting playlist for our Scrotorious Bastards campaign. Defaulting to like calming lo-fi suits these dev streams, not so much the high intensity action of the Scrotorious Bastards. Okay. I'm not going to go with level. Level's a bit of an out character. Let's go with improve. Just adds a little. Just checking into. Let's add it here. So we don't want to break. And we're going to want to say, the various checkboxes allow you to control which is a better word, which skills are improved. Only those skills the character already possesses at level 0+ will be improved, even if the checkboxes are ticked. Furthermore, for scouting and escape skills, only the best skill will be improved, even if the character has multiple scouting or escape skills. Pachow. There we go. So let's boot up MekHQ one more time. Just make sure it's all looking fancy. Oh Jesus! Sorry about that. I was putting my microphone, my coffee down, and just decided, you know what? I'm going to feed my microphone coffee. It will add some energy to the stream, I'm sure. Actually, can I just go to load last save? Save a few clicks. Was everybody at the Scrotorious Bastards game last? What do you all think? Did you have a good time? I know I certainly did. I definitely need to talk to my wife, she who earns the funds, and see if I can get myself some adult beverages for next time. There we go. Okay, that's looking all right. We probably want target level at the bottom. Yeah, we probably want target level at the bottom. But that looks fine. I can work with this. Yeah. We will need to update the glossary. That's okay. So let's move target level down to the bottom. CM Peterson says 1 and 2 was family night. Yeah, no, family comes first. And don't forget, if you are curious, the episode is actually already up on YouTube. If you search YouTube for IllianiDev MekHQ, it should appear. Sunday is the day that no, it might be Saturday. I can't remember which day I decided, but it will either be Saturday or Sunday that the Scrotorious Bastards will appear. Radar says also that the Scrotorious Bastards stream was very enjoyable, considering I was in voice chat with 2 of the others that are watching. Oh god, I dread to imagine. I dread to imagine the peanut gallery admiring my amazing tactical know-how. CM Peterson says I still have 2.5 hours of the first one to watch. The first one is very fun. I'm really enjoying these. Okay, so let's us scootle down. Boop. And let's move these. Let's get these down to the bottom. And because I don't want to have to faff around every time I need to just trying to think what we need to do here. I believe we just want Y here, and then everything thereafter, we just want Y plus. And if I'm smart and beautiful, and I am neither of those things, but if I am, then this should be correct. Let's find out. Feisman says they want to be in the peanut gallery. Peterson says, I love seeing how everyone sets up their company LANs and the options they typically use. I've learned a few things that I ended up using myself. So here's a fun thing. If you're doing the company generator, There's currently a bug with it, so in the current nightly it's broken. I've already fixed it, but it's just waiting to be merged. It might be actually fixed in tonight's nightly, I'm not sure. Either way, but if you run the company generator, all those extra support units, like the security guards and the flatbed trucks, will now actually be automatically pumped into their own like area on the tow. They're all going to get ranks. They're all going to be assigned to forces. They're going to get maintenance staff assigned automatically. So all those extra steps you have to do manually, don't need to do them anymore. I don't know why I keep going to the right-click menu. Let's go. Okay, so it's mostly working. It's mostly working. We can fix it. We can rebuild it. We have the technology. Speaking of things that we can rebuild, I'll tell you what. I absolutely want to rebuild the contract market. Also, I've just realized I haven't had my breakfast. Oh my god. My breakfast protein drink is literally just sitting in my pocket, just hanging out. It is 1:30. It's because I was knocked off of my like routine by all the problems I was having announcing the stream and just getting the mic set up and everything, and also with this being the day that like my new drugs make me exhausted, it all was just a bit of a mess. Okay, so this mostly works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're getting closer and closer. Little by little, we are improving. We have the technology. There we go. C.M. Peterson says it only costs 6 million. What costs 6 million? So we should have 5 checkboxes and then the target level at the bottom. Pink Bully asks, oh, welcome back to the stream, Pink Bully. What are we working on? So actually, good timing, I can show you. So you know the quick train option that allows you to quickly level up everybody? We're adding options so that you can control what skills are leveled up rather than MekHQ deciding for you and picking poorly. Oh my god. CM Peterson says that we have the technology, we can rebuild him from the $6 million man show. Yes. Okay, I get the joke now. My brain just flew straight over my head. But yeah, okay, so UI-wise, what are we feeling, folks? This looks okay to me. We've got the explanation of what the various checkboxes do. We will need to update the glossary, but I can do that in a second. Yeah, no, I think that works. I think that looks fine. We've got our 5 options. We've got target level. Yeah, no, I think this works. Okie dokie. Let me close the menu. Let's head back to IntelliJ because we want to quickly update the glossary. That's not going to take long. Apparently, I was in IntelliJ the whole time. I do apologize, Pink Bully. You'll see what we're working on in just a second. Whoopsie doodles. Let me just mute myself very briefly. There we go. I have successfully had my breakfast. Okay, so let's go to the glossary. The glossary lives in glossary entry. I'm in the wrong menu. So first things we need to do, we need to go to the glossary entry class and we need to note that we're updating the quick train. So we've got to find it. Quick. Quick train, where the hell are you living? Quick train, there we go. So by changing the version number here, it's going to get a little sign next to it that will show us that it's been updated. And let's go to glossary entry. Properties, here we are. Okay, you can go away. Quick train, blah, 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 blah. We can basically just get rid of all this at this point. What are we block quoting? Oh, there you go. Okay, so yeah, we can significantly shorten this down now, because I think it's reasonably obvious that that you tick a box, it trains it. So I don't think we need to have that anymore. We can just, basically we're just neutering the glossary entry. However, here's the thing though, we've done a bunch of stuff. We haven't actually pushed our changes at all or committed them. So I'm just going to double check that everything is good. And then we're actually going to go ahead and commit these changes. That is good. So I'm going to commit the initial setup. Just a good old spelling mistake there. Good, good. And we're also going to go ahead and add updated glossary as a separate commit. You want to try and keep your commits limited to one thing, because if you ever have to roll back a commit, you don't want to have to roll back a whole bunch of stuff. And it also means you can very quickly see in an isolated manner what's been changed. So for example, if I go here and I look at quick train, should be appearing. No, it's not going to. Quick train. I can see that we have updated glossary as one of the commits. Go away. Go away. And that allows me to see what was changed. If I had done a whole bunch of stuff, like loads and loads of changes, this panel here would be completely full, and it'd be really hard to see what actually changed. Whereas here, if I double click on here, I can see all that changed is the version number on quick train. So try and keep your commits to like really focused. I'm not great at that. I'm pretty terrible, honestly. But if you can, just try and keep it focused, and you're going to make your life a lot easier. Speaking of, we need to make a whole bunch of getters. So I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try. No fields without a getter. What do you mean there's no fields without a getter? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Okay, that's fine. We can do it manually. Grumble, grumble, grumble. No, let's do this. Let's think with portals. Let us think with portals. We're going to return quick train options. We're not going to return individual booleans. Okay. Cave Johnson here. So let's make another. So we are going to no, we do not need to make another initializer. We can do this very simply. So first option is okay. That's thank you very much, helpful. Let me try this again. New quick train options. Actually, just making some separate view, and we can faff around without having to rely on my amazing memory, my famously good memory. So, first up is level artillery. So autocomplete is offering some suggestions. We are going to double the check the heck out of those suggestions because autocomplete makes more mistakes than me. Artillery, scouting, escape, leadership, cover. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, cool. Cool. So what we're doing here is we've added a getter that's just going to return what options were selected, stored in the quick train options record. And again, for those of you just joining who aren't used to working with records they are so good. Oh, Jesus Christ, punching my mic. They are so good. I never used to use them, and now I use them all the time. Anytime you want to store some information, a block of information you need to pass around, or you need to access, and you're never going to change the values, use a record. They are tiny, they are cheap, they come with getters built in. Honestly, records do not get used anywhere nearly as much as they should. I am a huge fan of records. So we can get rid of that. That's not important anymore. Glossary entry is not important anymore. Campaign New Day Manager, that might be. Yes. We're going to need to do something there. Let's think. We're going to have to think about New Day Manager, but that's a problem for a future day. I might need to add some MekHQ options, but we can do that. We have the, as I keep saying, we have the technology. Okay, so dialogue. Going to want to grab our new options. But here's the thing, we've already got options up here. Let's reuse that instance. And what we're going to do, we're actually going to pass this into this method. Yeah. Okay. So now if we go to process quick training, we're now passing in the options. And some of these options we no longer want to fetch from campaign options. We want to fetch it from our quick train options. I don't like direct access, which is what I'm doing here. I prefer to use the dynamic getter that it creates. Direct access isn't a problem, but it can be annoying when it comes to testing. I'm going to rename this to is level leadership. 1, 2, 3, 4. We are missing one. Oh, we don't have is level other command skills. Which really does limit the use of quick train if we don't have that as an option. No, that's not what we wanted to do. Is level escape skills. There we go. And this is why you always double check your work. It's so easy, especially when you're copy pasting. Copy pasting it's the devil's way of giving you a kiss on the cheek, because if you're ever going to make a mistake, you're going to make it while you're copy pasting a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, it's the copy pasting. If you're copy pasting a whole bunch of stuff, it is just the devil. creeping over to you and just giving you a little peck on the cheek. Mwah. And he's just like, hello there, heart darling. I hope you're not making mistakes today. That's how the devil talks. I'm fairly certain of it. Ask the Pope. They'll agree. Okay, so first things first, we need to see where we're using is level leadership. And at this point, we are going to go ahead and we're going to stop using multiple displays. I just want to have the one. No, that wasn't helpful. That's fine. We can work with this. Scoot all back to the top. So I want to make sure that we can actually level the other command skills. So let us have a look at where we're using is use leadership. We're just using it here. Process skills. Okay, so we just need to add in a new one. Shazam. And head over to process skills. And the two command skills are tactics and strategy. There we go. And I'm just going to double check how should add skill works. Ooh. Determines whether a skill should be added to the target skill list. A skill is eligible only if it's not present in target skills and the person actually possesses the skill. Okay, that works. Let us rename some of these. Is level leadership. Is level escape skills. And is level leadership. I notice we are, oh God, what am I doing? What am I doing? I am being a donkey. Is level scouting skills. And lastly is level artillery, which simply renaming them for consistency is level artillery. Okay, but here's the thing. I'm noticing that we've got an is stratcon check here. Okay. So this isn't, we don't want this to work here, because if we have this, we're going to add the skills even if the player specifically says they don't want to add them. So we're going to add those later. We just double check. We've got more tactics, leadership, strategy, and training. Oh, that is something we have to add. We have to add training. Do not let me forget. We have to add training. I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah, no, we absolutely have to add training. But that should be good. So let's jump over here, and we're just going to add, say that we've added initial implementation, and now we're going to go back and add training. Oh man, that would have been embarrassing. We would have immediately been asked for training skills. Let's put it under leadership. Now, before I get onto this, I'm very quickly going to mute myself. I'm going to step away from the computer for a couple of moments. And I'm back. Let's just stop that. Back to IntelliJ. Boxdara says, oh yeah, you typically only want a couple of trainers in a given force. Exactly. Now I have received some suggestions that might make you need more trainers, but right now that's how it works. So, I feel like is training is another one that we're always going to want enabled. So let's just add that there. There we go. So next up, we need to go back to the dialog itself, and we need to add in the new check. We could have it so that instead of level other command skills, you have strategy and tactics separately. However, in my experience, generally speaking, if you want someone to have strategy or tactics, you also want them to have tactics or strategy. So I don't think that's a problem. We will, however, need to go add this. There we go. So that's going to have, that will set up. Next up, we need to go over to Quick Train itself. And we need to find us, oh God, what did I do? We need to find ourselves is level. Where else are we using is level? There we go. Okay, so is use StratCon is no longer relevant. That's good. But we are going to need to is level training. Now that's gonna throw an error, but that's okay. We can fix that. Oh God, it is level training. There we go. Don't want direct access. So these, this is an excess of comments. And it just creates a wall where some of this is super obvious. If it's is level, it probably means that you want to level it. So we're just going to make it a little bit neater. There we go. Okay. So that's going to pass it into here. Expected 14 arguments per foul 15. What are we missing? Person, admin. Level artillery, small arms, scouting. Skip skills, use appraisal. Procurement personnel. Leadership, other command skills, yes. Target skills, so this should be correct. Why, oh why? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Expected 14. Have I just not added his level training yet? Did I forget to add that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Aha. Oh yeah, I just haven't added his level training yet. There we go. Proper sorted. We're gonna lose the is combat personnel from scouting and escape skills. In case a player chooses to level up those skills on a non-combat character, we don't want to be in a situation where the player is requesting training and then the training isn't happening. Let's see. We're going to have to come back over this and just double check that everything is working as it should be, because I'm not convinced it is. But for now, we're going to just complonk is training into here. No, that's not training, that's artillery. So that will add it to the target skills. However, this all seems very cumbersome. I'm wondering if what we're doing is correct. Special skills for proficient. Oh, okay. So that's why artillery's being added there instead, and then we're filtering it back out if necessary. Okay. Okay. Now I see. Seems like appraisal. Yeah, that's all good. It's level leadership. Yes. It's level training. It's level other command skills. Yes. Okay. That all seems to be good. We do need to add training. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and now, did we add training to... We did. Okay, but did we actually add it to the UI? That's the question, isn't it? We did not. Okay, that's easy enough. We can just do this. There we go. I don't know if my cat licking himself is wobbling the mic, so I do apologize if it is. He's sitting in his little cat bed that's next to my desk, and he is aggressively licking himself. This is Bandit, of course, because it's always Bandit. Aya likes to steal the dog bed that's to my right. So Aya, which is our other cat, has this massive dog bed that she just dominates, and the dogs aren't allowed to use it because it's her dog bed. Whereas Bandit likes to be a bit more personable, so he likes to be nearer me. So he has to have his desk bed. Otherwise, he will try and just nap in the middle of my desk, and my desk is not big enough for that. Okay, so that's all set up. We have some errors over here, but that's okay. We can fix them. Cannot resolve. Okay, so this is the next stage. So the next stage is that we need to figure out what options should be selected if the player is using the automatic run quick train on new day. So let's go ahead and add some options there. First of all, we need to create options. God, my fuck up. Bloody hell. Go away, UI. we're in New Day, so we should be able to access campaign options. There we go. We're doing it the wrong way. Don't want to initialize a brand new version. We want to... Well, we are going to want to initialize a brand new version, just not yet. Pink Billy says that my cat does that as well and sleeps next to my fan intake. Oh no, your poor GPU. So this is going to allow us to at least run MekHQ. Oh, your dog. Oh god, that's even worse. Yeah, my dog's just like living on the couch. We've kind of decided at this point we have a very busted up couch, and that's probably going to be in my office in our new place when we move. And then the dogs can kind of just hang out with me. Okay, so this is going to allow MekHQ to boot. That's a good start. However, we are going to need to add some MekHQ client options. So let's boot up MekHQ and I can show you where those live and give you a brief overview of what we're going to need to do, because we want to allow the player to control stuff. So we've got another 2 hours on stream, so we're getting pretty close to this being done now. Which is nice. We will need to test it. We need to also implement the MekHQ client options, because there's a lot of automation in MekHQ client options that many players aren't aware of. Things like being able to automatically have XP spent on New Day, so you don't have to manually go through and check who has XP to spend. And that's really, that option is where it is where the quick train really shines. So quick train to level 5. What we want to do is we need to change that to quick train on New Day. So we're heading over to IntelliJ. And the reason why level 5 was picked is, for me personally, that is when I want to start thinking about whether I want to start giving characters SPAs. First day of new month, automatically run quick training on all characters. There we go. And the good thing here, this is going to tell us where we want to be in. Okay. MekHQ client options use the same system that old MekHQ campaign options used. A little bit better. There were a lot of problems with the old campaign option system. So it is a little better, but it is still a bit of a pain to do. So first we're going to do the simple stuff. And the simple stuff here is we're going to go ahead and just do the checkboxes. So I'm using this to quickly jump back to where Quick Train lives. Oh, we need to add a... No, dialog doesn't need to be capitalized there. So checkboxes are always the easiest to implement, so that's why we're going to implement those first. If I scroll down to the bottom, and let's just split root. There we go. So first up, we're going to want I want you down to the bottom, please. I'm going to check is level artillery. We are going to want some other options as well, but we're going to go ahead and add them one at a time, because what that allows us to do is just jump straight to them, and it makes it a lot more reliable. So here we're just going to add the new options. Oh, I accidentally deleted them. That's not helpful. Yeah, there we go. So what this is just the UI part. There are a whole bunch of other options you'll be happy to know. For example, we need to add the component. Ooh. We need to add it again. Ah. Then we need to go down and set it. Now this isn't going to work immediately because we haven't actually created this method. But that's okay. And we also need to set the initial state. Now, the reason why we're not setting up these getters and setters immediately is because we want to actually have an error there. And that's going to allow us to remember, oh, hey, we forgot a step, if we forget a step. So now we can jump back to the top. So that's artillery done. We also need to do is level scouting skills. And what you're seeing now is basically why nobody in the MekHQ team really likes faffing about with the UI. Because if you think that every time we want to add a new client option, we have to go through this process. And this process is just setting up the UI. This isn't even implementing the option in code. This is just setting up the UI. You should jump back. I accidentally put scouting skills in the wrong place. So we're trying to mimic the order in which it appears in the UI as well, to kind of keep things consistent. And if you're joining us and haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button, or like button, I should say. Not God. My brain's stuck in YouTube mode. What I mean to say is, if you're enjoying the stream, please hit the follow button. I mean, obviously it would be nice if you hit subscribe, but that's not expected. But yeah, if you're enjoying yourself, hitting the follow button, just a way of showing that you're having a good time, and also will mean that you're notified when we go live. When do we go live? 5 times a week. We go live on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday during daytime. And those are our dev streams, like what you're watching right now. And, oh, I buggered that up. And on Friday evening, we have the ongoing escapades of the Scrotorius Bastards, our Rasselhaig house unit. That is just 5 years away from the arrival of the clans. You can find all the airing times if you have a look in this channel's scheduling. That's all automatically adjusted for your time zone. And we are trying to improve things a little by little. I recognize this probably isn't the most high quality of stream. Right now, we don't really have any benefits for subscribers. That is definitely something I am working on. I think it's really important to make sure that people who are willing to put money down to support the channel are being rewarded and thanked in some way. And it's most likely it's going to take the form of a Discord with like a special section for subscribers. But we're also going to try and get some in-stream benefits as well. I've already queued up a couple of artists that I know that are going to do some work for me. Psychetic says, make a vote for the most popular mech sprites for emotes. That's actually a good idea. The thing is, like, that creates a problem with copyright because technically MekHQ, MegaMek rather, owns the copyright for the mech sprites, and adding them as a as a subscriber reward will create problems. And whilst technically, yes, I am on the MekHQ team, I when I'm on here, this is my private stream. This is not this isn't like an official MekHQ stream or anything else like that, which means when I'm on the stream here, I am effectively just like any one of you folks. But as Radar's already demonstrated, we do have our first emote. It is the persona of the hero of the Scrotorious Bastards, Flash Fried. You can learn all about her if you watch episode 1, either on this channel or over on our YouTube. I feel like I'm mucking this up. This doesn't... Level artillery, level scouting, level escape. No, leadership is right. Leadership is right. Okay. There we go. But yeah, if you are a follower, you will get automatic access to the Flash Fried emote. Let's rename these. We're going to do a find or replace rather than manually editing them, because there's some instances where we're just going to do is level. We're going to change that to level. There we go. Just makes it a little bit neater. There we go. So yeah, if you are a follower, you will get access to the Flash Fried emote, and there will be more coming. Me and my artists have been discussing there's going to be an urban mech emote, because my wife is one of the artists, and my wife absolutely adores her trash boys. Do I know how salvage math works? I programmed it in, so I should bloody hope so. Whether I remember it all, that is another thing entirely. Is there something specific that you're asking for? Yeah, if there's a specific question, I might be able to answer it. Keeping in mind the salvage rules are based on cam ops, so the best source really is going to be checking campaign operations, but it depends on what question you're asking, really. Also, welcome back to the stream, Psychatic. I should have said hello earlier. I was distracted. However, I did notice something. I don't think we added everything to the add components. Artillery, scouting, escape. We haven't added escape. We need to add that. Escape, otherwise they won't appear in the UI. And we also need to add leadership. Let's make sure we added these down here as well. Yeah, we haven't added leadership or scouting. Escape. Now we're going to check to make sure these all work before we do anything. Okay, Psychatic asks how towing math works. Like, if a vehicle is 70 tons and has a lift hoist, it can tow 105 tons. If it has 2, it can tow 140 tons. Okay, when it comes down to that level of detail, you are going to have to check the official rules manuals. I cannot remember how the lift hoist math works, because whilst I implemented the salvage rules, it was actually Psycho Monkey who implemented the lift hoist. We worked in tandem. So like Psycho Monkey handled the lift hoist stuff. I was the one that handled the salvage stuff, so I don't have knowledge too much of all the rules there. Okay, so that's training. And lastly, we need other command skills. So I can tell we've made a mistake. We're missing something on training because we've only got 5 users instead of 7. So let us see if we can figure out what we missed. The most likely instance is we forgot training. There we go. We missed it off the UI. Keep in mind when it comes to checking rules from Sana might not always be correct, but what Sana is good for when it comes to rules is telling you roughly what manual the rules are in. But you do have to be careful because Sana's rules can frequently be quite out of date. And that isn't to say Sana's a bad source. Sana is, and as Text Talks BattleTech often likes to say, it is the best wiki in the internet, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. Sana is fantastic. We work very closely with Sana. But when it comes to rules, their rule stuff is quite frequently out of date. It's actually one of the reasons I believe they're actually trying to remove a lot of the rules stuff from the wiki, because maintaining it is just proving to be so difficult. Especially right now, where we're about to have one of the biggest rules overhauls that we've had in probably a decade, with the arrival of the new core rules, which I am looking very much looking forward to. I personally haven't seen it yet, but being the MekHQ dev, I hear things, and from what I've heard from people who have seen the new core rulebook, apparently it is very, very good. Okay, so that's the initial setup done. Obviously, we have these getters and setters that don't work. So what we're going to go and do now, we're going to go ahead and fix that, which requires us to go to a different area and create new options. So I'm going to call this New Day Artillery. It has to be all caps. That's not how it's formatted. Foul says, if I remember correctly, there's also some stuff with copyright when adding rules to Sana, as a lot of the time you have to basically copy paste for it to accurate. Yeah, there's a lot of issues there, I will say, and I am not someone who is going to glaze a company just because they produce my favorite thing. And so I'm not going to tell you that CGL is Catalyst Game Labs, the current people behind BattleTech, are amazing just because they produce BattleTech. That doesn't help anybody. Anybody who's been on a stream before knows that I'm a firm believer in if you love something, you should be willing to criticize it. But as a long-term fan of BattleTech, and I think many of you who have been around for a few years who remember the great clicky tech Dark Age, the very aptly named Dark Ages, we'll remember we've had as fans of BattleTech, we've had a rough ride. And I genuinely believe that under CGL's custodianship, we have never had it this good. That's correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think we've ever had it as good, even under FASA. Even under FASA, and I'll be perfectly honest, I'm not a fan of FASA as a company. I believe that FASA completely screwed the pooch in a manner that was wholly avoidable. I don't believe FASA should have folded. I don't think it should have had the financial problems that it did. FASA were the original BattleTech people, and I genuinely do not believe FASA was well managed as a company, and that is the reason why it folded. It was wholly avoidable. But I think under CGL's custodianship, we really have not had it as good as we do now. Tira says CGL love the setting, but they do have a little bit of the five guys in a shared energy sometimes. Yeah, that is correct. CGL is a tiny indie company. A tiny indie company that just happens to make a couple of million a year in BattleTech sales. CGL's kind of weird like that. They definitely, I wholeheartedly agree that they definitely have the five guys in a shed vibe. Okay, so let's bring up where we're using this. We just need to add in these. So artillery scooting. So this is where I need to be really careful, because it's going to be really easy to make a mistake here. In fact, let me switch these options over to my second view, because yeah, this, no, I didn't want it to go over there. Oh, it's not where I wanted to go, IntelliJ. I wanted to change on the view in which I clicked it, IntelliJ. Grammar. BZ Retribution says, developing a cool game people like and running a company of different skill sets, yeah. Yeah, I think the mistake that FASA made was not having... I think FASA just got a bit high on their own supply. And as a result, just everything fell to shit. What was the because funnily enough, the D&D folks kind of went the same way. TSI, I think it was TSR, it's one of the two. But they ended up going the same way. Fucking Gary Hijacks, yeah. No, not Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast has its own myriad of problems that I do not have the time or the energy to go into all the problems Wizards of the Coast has. I'm talking about the original, like, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons folks, and I think that was TSR, Tactical Simulation Games. In the Tactical Simulation, I forget what it stands for. Pink Willie says I don't need to go into Wizards of the Coast problems. Yeah, no, I think Wizards of the Coast problems are well documented. Very well documented. If you don't know what the problems Wizards of the Coast has, just search on YouTube. There are an infinite number of people willing to tell you. I know when it comes to like old BattleTech stuff, I'm just so glad that we finally have broken away from the stranglehold Harmony Gold had on the game. Like, being able to go to 3025, have a 3025 game, and actually be able to buy minis for the units you have in 3025, it's so nice. As someone who had to trawl through eBay listings just to have a single Marauder, being able to go and get a plastic Marauder at any time that I want it's really nice. Now, I can foresee we getting player contact asking to separate other commands, so strategy and tactics, into two separate options, but I don't see there being any reason to have strategy without tactics and vice versa, so I think we'll be okay. Okay, so that's our options set up. So let's head back over to the dialogue, because I know... Aha, it's the skills. The skills part is not... We didn't include that. Okay. Where are the other mistakes? Here they are. So I'm just concentrating right now. I will catch up with chat in just a second. Tira says, take a page out of Frederick the Great's book. The DM is the first servant of the players. I wholeheartedly agree. I keep saying wholeheartedly a lot in this stream, but I do agree. A DM is nothing without a player. And I think this is actually a lesson that I really think we need, not so much we need to learn, but it's important to remember when you're developing MekHQ. or MegaMek or anything else where you're required to implement homebrew stuff, that yes, players can be annoying sometimes, and players can be very opinionated, and players are terrible games designers as a rule. But you have to respect the community, because if you don't respect the community, they're not going to respect you. But more importantly, without the community, there is literally no point in doing what we do. And that's why even when we don't agree, I still try to, when people offer suggestions or offer feedback, I still try. It's not difficult sometimes, but I still try to leave an open mind. And I will say, that wasn't something I was always very good at, when, especially just prior to when I burned out and had to leave the project for a couple of months, because it gets to a point where I was working myself far too hard, and I was very stressed. Tira says, it's also the other maxim that players will optimize the fun out of any system if allowed to. Yes. There is no force on earth more powerful than a player's willingness to ruin their own fun. I love y'all, but it is so true. Okay, missing resource. So this is what I was talking about before. Remember when I told you how the old resource system would just brick the client? That's what's happening here. So we need to go back and we need to actually add some options. I'm going to go ahead and do two things. One, we're going to add the options, but we're also going to go ahead and move it to the new system. Radar says, side note, holy shit, the Somerset Strikers are showing up in the MechWarrior 5 DLC with Nicholas Malthus. Oh, that is fantastic. That is amazing. I need to find time to go back to MechWarrior 5. I'm not really a fan of MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. Is this DLC for Mercenaries or is this DLC for clans? Mercenaries, yeah, I probably will give that a skip then. I might watch a play-by on YouTube. I'm just not really a fan of the moment-to-moment gameplay in clans, and in Mercenaries. I love clans, but I think that it comes down to the fact that as a PS5 player, I have no access to mods that would improve the game. And Mercenaries has a lot of problems. Mercenaries is saved by its mods. Okay, so we know we're missing the text. Here it is. So this is the old way of retrieving text. Let us go ahead and switch over to the new way. I don't know we can switch this over to the new way, actually. This might not be possible. Let me find one that we actually have. Okay, no, we can switch this over to the new system. Okay, that is good. So let's do exactly that. So right now it says resources get string. However, what we actually want is get text. And you can plonk that in there. Close up the brackets. And that is moving it over to the new system, which is much better. So we can now go ahead and replace this with get text. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Get text. I'm not going to replace all 239 instances of this. We're only going to replace it for the area where we're actually involved in right now. I might do a follow-up PR that will change the others. But right now, we're just going to do the ones that we actually have implemented. And we're going to go ahead and stop this taking up so many lines. Now, we still haven't actually added the text, but what we've done is we've switched over to using the new system, which will not brick the client just because we haven't added the values. There we go. Tira says, MechWarrior 5 was so bad, PGI kind of lost me on the series until Clans came out and I realized that they actually do kind of love the setting. MechWarrior Clans is an absolute love letter to the BattleTech game. I was not a fan of MechWarrior 5, but I appreciated it. I was glad that we had it. I would not go back and say, oh, I don't want MechWarrior 5 because of how it turned out. I'm really glad that we had it, and I do understand that they've improved it greatly. It's just the gameplay loop it's not really for me. However, Clans really does demonstrate, and I agree, it really does demonstrate just how much they love the setting. BZ Retribution says, playing with friends is what makes MechWarrior 5 good. That's good to know. Okay, so I'm just thinking, we've done this. We're going to go and test to make sure the options are saving and loading correctly. That's important. Before we go any further, we want to make sure they save and they load. Our next step is going to be to add the ability to say how high you want people to be trained. I've said this before in stream, but MechWarrior 5 is the game. MechWarrior 5 Clans is the game that made my wife care about BattleTech, and like, yeah, I will never not be grateful for that. Getting my wife, who had absolutely zero interest in BattleTech, not just interested in MechWarrior 5 Clans, but into BattleTech, but also to the point where she wanted her own mech. So that's actually how she has she has the urban mech lamb. Oh, 1 second. My phone's going off. My wife, it turns out, is also watching the stream again, and my wife reliably informs me that she did care about BattleTech before. My wife, unfortunately, has the ability to sidestep my do not disturb. So I do apologize for the pings going off. I've just noticed I've got a bunch of family messages. Oh, God. Sorry about that, everybody. One of the things with the problems of doing an all-day stream is I get all day's worth of interruptions. So let's head over to New Day Options. So as you can see here, it's just showing us that we don't have the value set for here, but that's okay. So first things first, we are going to go ahead and tick them all. I wanted them all turned off by default, so that's good. So first we're going to click them all. We're going to come out. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. So we've clicked them all. We're going to come out. We're going to go back in. Have they been retained between instances of MekHQ client options? They have. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we're going to advance day. Go away. So that's made a save. We're now going to close out MekHQ. So the client settings should have now become enshrined in our actual preferences. We're now going to reopen MekHQ, and if everything works, all those options will still be ticked. In fact, we can access the options here. New Day Options. And they are still clicked. Okay, so the options are implemented correctly. Good. So chat's talking about how they're hopeful for MechWarrior 6. I don't know that we're going to get a MechWarrior 6. I think we're probably just going to get Clans and Mercenaries DLC for a while. And they've had layoffs? Yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me. But I think right now they're probably still in a position to make a bunch of Mercenaries DLC, because I imagine the Mercenary DLC is actually quite, I don't want to say cheap, relatively cheap in comparison to MechWarrior Clans DLC, because MechWarrior Clans, they have to have the whole mocap and everything. Okay, so we've done the initial MekHQ client options. The next one we have to do is the tedious one. We're going to need to do... oh, that's not named correctly. We're going to need to go and do the spinner. Spinners are annoying. I really wish spinners were a lot easier to work with than they actually are. They're just so frustrating. Radar says they remember when they said they were never getting clans for MechWarrior 5. I actually believe that was true. I don't think they intended for clans to come to MechWarrior 5. I think what then happened is clans came out, MechWarrior 5 clans, and then people were upset that clans were in MechWarrior 5, and so they were like, oh, we can relatively easily add these in, and they did. So let's see here. So we've got the new month quick train. Let's make ourselves a J-spinner. J-spinner. And we're going to call that spinner quick train target. Do we have a J-spinner anywhere else in this dialog that I can ape? We do. Fan-diddly-astic. So we're going to want to change this over to... bear with me. We're going to want to change this over to use the new resource value fetcher. So get text. Replace that, replace that, replace that. And we want the spinner. Is that going to recognize it? It does. Okay. BZ Retribution says that PGI said that they were going to move on to new projects, but they wanted to wonder why they're showing as an error. Looks fine to me. They were going to do some DLC first because that's what the publisher wants. I can believe that, and I don't think it's necessarily a problem. I think adding new DLC to both clans and MechWarrior 5 will just increases the value prospect of getting those games, so that when they do MechWarrior 6, if they do, and I hope they do, when they do MechWarrior 6, it is then going to have an even more established player base, and people are going to be like, oh, we've got all this other content they can do, and they're going to get tangential saves. The reality is we've not had a MechWarrior title that has not had some sort of politics drama negatively affect it since MechWarrior 2. Yeah, no. The BattleTech IP is bloody cursed. Okay, thinkity think. And the reason why I'm looking for spinner is I'm just trying to verify the steps that we need to take, because spinners, as I say, they are a pain in the ass to set up. I do apologize, I'm not talking constantly. This is an area where I do need to concentrate. Psychic says, the MekHQ sign-up page is not up to date. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That really doesn't. We probably should ask them to update that. Okay. So what we're doing here, we're getting the target for the quick train target of spinner, and then we are converting it into an integer. Okay, so that's that step done. Next up, we need to do the actual options themselves. So I'm just going to get rid of these other stuff. I know we're going to need some of it, but for now, we're just going to go with that. Oh no, there wasn't. You're right, Radar. There was intended to be a Mech Assault 3. I'm really sad that we didn't. Mech Assault was... I mean, I don't know if Mech Assault was necessarily a good game, but my god, it was so much fun. It was such an artifact of the time in which it came out. Especially Mech Assault 2. I actually had an illegal spider mech from a boss from Mech Assault 2. I probably shouldn't tell you that as a MekHQ dev. But yeah, like a while ago, I had myself a 3D printed version of the Mech Assault 2 end boss. Okay, so that's the setters and the getters. Let's go ahead and add the constants. All right, so that's that set up. Let's jump back over here. We should all now be good. Are we not? We are not. Set quick train targetness. There we go. Let's double check this correct. So this should be an integer. And we need to find a spinner to see how that's being set up. So how are you setting that up? Okay. So it is in fact in the new day mode. It is quick start. Come on, give me the trainer. God damn it. No, it's not. It's quick train. Target. It's going to be value. Let me just double check that. That's a set. Okay, so we want the setter. We also want the getter. That is a setter. There's the, oh, that's a setter too. Come on, give me a getter. Give me a getter. Oh, is getter next? Okay. Here we go. How are we getting it? Oh, these are all doubles. That should be okay for what we need. And the default value is going to be 5. That keeps it exactly the same, and it is in fact get integer. Oh, bugger that up. Can't get integer. One sec, my wife's dad is messaging me. Let me just make sure that's not anything important. Just want to make sure that I fed the piggies this morning. Again, I do apologize for these interruptions. I can't imagine they'll be as frequent once I am. Oh, we haven't. I see what I've done. Need to. There we go. Family comes first, yeah. Once me and my wife, because one of the things that me and my wife are planning to do, we're wanting to move out of her parents' house. And so there'll be fewer interruptions, so I won't have to be looking after all the animals and things like that. Okay, that is all good. So that should give us our default value of 5. We do now, however, there is one thing we have to set up. So let me just jump to the top here. We need to set up the actual spinner itself. Because right now, its default value, its step size is 25. That's wrong. The minimum is going to have to be 1. The maximum is the maximum of 10. And its default value is going to be 5. So now let's boot up MekHQ. And yeah, we're going to boot up MekHQ, and we're just going to have a look and see what's going on. Radar says Mech Assault, where Jerome Blake was somehow alive 500 years before he was supposed to. Yeah, I think Mech Assault, the Mech Assault games got the BattleTech cartoon treatment, where they're just considered an in-game media, like in-universe media at this point. Okay, so let's see. Oh, that's chunky. It's probably bigger than we want it. Why is that so big? That's huge. Oh, let me show you. Look how big this spinner is. I mean, at least we can do is check to see if it's actually working. But that is a big spinner. Okay, the values appear to be set, so let's quit our MekHQ and go back into it. Let me just change from the void. Radar says there are some stuff canonized for MekAssault. I mean, it's the same for the BattleTech cartoon. Like, what's his face? Information's Ammunition guy. He's a canonical character. It's just some of the events aren't. Okay. I have no idea why that is so large. Adam Stein. Yeah, Adam Stein's a canonical character. And Somerset was attacked by the Jade Falcons. I'm wondering if it's large because this is a missing value. So that's what we're going to try and check. Let's see if we can add the missing strings and then go from there. Okay, so first things first, let's split right so that we're all working off the one place. Here we go. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and set up the values. Do. Need 2 more. 1, 2. Okay. Quick train target. Quick train artillery. Quick train scouting skills. Escape skills. Appear to have leadership twice. Is there a reason? No. We are going to have to add if quick train is enabled to everything. There's another thing we're going to need to add to all of these. BZ Retributionist cartoon is totally canon. It's genuine Steiner war propaganda. Yeah, exactly. And they did the similar with Mech Assault, where Mech Assault is, I believe it's an in-universe holo game. And the thing we need to add on is has no effect when quick train is manually run from the personnel tab. We just need to copy that to the others. Shazam, 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 and Shazam. Save that. So now let's go see if we still have Bic J-Spinner. Tira says they just watched the DLC release trailer and it's on board. I am excited too. I am definitely excited. As I say, I'll probably watch a Let's Play because I'm not a huge fan of MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, but it doesn't mean I'm not excited. Why are you so thick? Why? Who said you could be this big? Like, it's not a problem, but it is annoying. Are the other J-Spinners? No, see, that's not as chonky. Ugh. I'm not gonna faff around with that. I'm just gonna leave that as is. It's fine. We do, however, want to do something to let me do word wrapping on these tooltips. So I'm opening up this view so that I can just jump straight to the ones where we've actually edited stuff in. So this is going to error out, but that's okay. We are not bothered about it erroring out. We just want to make sure that we are adding the word wrapping. And, oh, we don't want to add it to the title. That would be a mistake. If I had a better computer, I would live stream some MechWarrior clans or mercenaries content, but that's a little bit out of my reach. I mean, this computer won't even run either, let alone stream them. I could probably set up on my PS5, but then I'd have to go for a whole bunch of steps, and it's just really not worth it. There are plenty of other better content creators. Okay, so that should be good. All right, so let's launch the options again. Let's go into MekHQ options. Doobly doobly doo. And let's check the tooltips. There we go. So that gives us all of our options. So there we go. Alrighty then. So our next objective, now that we've actually got the options in, sorry, knocking my mic, and then go to correct my mic and then knock it again, I do apologize. So we have the options in. Our next step is going to be to actually integrate them into the program. So for that, we need to go back to Quick Train. Let's see. All right, so what we want to do here is we first want to build we want to create a quick training instance. So let's jump onto this. Let's switch this over to the right tab, because we're going to manufacture a instance of quick train options. And previously we would have got the options separately, but with this time we're actually going to do it here and now. So I need to remember how to actually access these options, so bear with me. Yeah, okay, so we're getting the, if I go to optimize medical, that'll be. So how are we accessing? Are we just going this? New day. Oh, okay, that's easy enough. That's easy enough. All right. So, I closed that. I didn't want to close that. That was dumb. That was dumb. Okay. So first things first, we need to get, I'm just going to pop this down here for now so I can reference it. We should cache MekHQ options. Because we're accessing this a lot. So let's cache the options. I know I got a use up there, but I don't want to muck around too much of other stuff because that's just going to pollute the pull request. So let's cache options. So we're going to be calling options a lot. And then we want get quick train target. There we go. Then we are going to need there's going to be a bunch of balls. Boolean, Boolean, off we go getting a Boolean. That's the wrong thing to paste. We need to paste the variable name. There we go. So right now this is all going to go back to quick train target. That's fine, because what we're doing is just copying these over. Now, the reason why I didn't tie these into when you manually run quick train from the personnel tab is because if I did that, your options that you've defined to run every day are going to dominate the other options, and it's just going to create a really rough play experience. Okay. So that's going to give us all of our booleans and our value. So we've already passed in the quick train target number. We need to create a new set of options, new, and then we're going to pass all of these booleans in. Because in addition to automatically having getters, a record automatically has setters as well, so you don't have to go ahead and do it yourself. As I say, records are, they're magic. Because creating a record is actually cheaper, memory-wise, than just creating a class that only has getters and setters. We're going to rename this quick train options. Quick train options. And what we're then going to do is we are going to extract this into a static method. For, oh, no, that's not what I wanted. For new day. And then we're going to take this and we're actually going to move this into the quick train class. I got very confused because Weitzman asked, isn't that just an imp? And my brain was like, well, what's an imp? I don't remember that class type. But I see what you're saying now. the imp mech, not imp class type. There we go. So that should now accept that. There we are. And voila, that is now hooked in. So next up, we've got our options set up. In theory, we've hooked them in. So our next step is going to be to actually test it. And while I'm building up MekHQ, if you haven't already and you're enjoying what you're hearing, please consider hitting the follow button so that you can get notified when we go live. You can also check out the schedule on the channel homepage, and that will show you, well, our schedule and let you know when we go live. It will automatically update based on your local time zone. Maybe not if you're using a VMP and pretending you're logging in from insert name, Jamaica. Like very excited and punch my mic. It's not going to help you if you make your internet think you're in Jamaica, but if you're not doing that, it will tell you the time automatically adjusted to your time zone. If you are saying that you're logging in from Jamaica and you're actually not, you may have to do some math. Now bear with me, I am going to have to slip off very briefly because I can hear Mr. Bear whining because Mr. Bear wants to go potty, so I shall be right back. And I'm back. So here we are testing. Now Tiris is saying 3 urban mechs that combine into a tripod. The mental image that provided was of a mech pod. Like you have it attached to your mech's legs and it's like an anti-mech pod, but no, it's just a mech pod. And when it gets triggered, it just explodes. But instead of like shrapnel, it's just like little tiny urban mechs. Like action figures. Just yeeting at Mach 10. Just like imagine that being an infantry. You're about to go climb up a mech's legs to plant some explosives, and suddenly you get hit in the face with a solid plastic lump of urban mech. It probably have like karate chop action, and maybe you can press like a button in its chest and it says something like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a slogan for the urban mechs. I don't know. Well, we'll figure something out. Tira says we could conceivably make a building-sized claymore filled with urban mechs. Right, see that now you're thinking with portals. Okay, so let's go to MekHQ client options. Let's check out our client options first. Make sure everything's set up. So we're not gonna train any of these other stuff first. So what we're wanting is the skills should train to level 5, and it should be combat skills only. So we're gonna add a mech warrior. We're actually gonna add a blank character. And we're going to give them mech warrior skills. I need to be in GM mode for this. And we need to give them gunnery mech, but I've lost it. There it is. And piloting mech. Okay, and they're going to have it at level 0, so we'll be able to tell immediately if those skills have been improved. We're going to change their profession to mech warrior. There we go. And we're going to give them a truckload of XP. More XP than you've ever seen in your life. There we go. So we know they can 100% level up to level 5. It's not going to be any problems. And we are now going to advance to new month. Leave me alone. And at the end of the month, or rather the beginning of the month, I should say. What the hell? Oh my god, he caught a disease. He caught redburn virus. We'll have to fix that later. All these pop-ups. Oh, go away! You don't need to give him a medal. We just need to give him XP spending. Okay, so it says that he has spent some XP, but he currently has redburn virus. So let me just go and heal that, because that's going to skew our results. It's advanced day. Why, oh why? Aging modest. Oh my god, he's 1,000. Ah! Ah! I forgot to set his age. Ah! Okay, let's make this guy so he's not 1,000. Jerome Blake, he returns. There we go. Okay, right, fantastic. That out of the way, we can now see that he has, in fact, got 5 levels. Good. Our next step is to start giving him extra skills. We're going to de-level him back down to 0. And we are going to give him... we'll start with... Let's start with... Okay, so acting is an escape skill. Leadership, negotiation, strategy. Well, don't need negotiation. Strategy. Where's tactics? Training. Tactics, any? Okay. I think that's all the relevant skills. Escape. Oh, we need a scouting skill. We'll give him sensor operations. Sensor operations is kind of like the poster boy for scouting skills. Sensor operations. There we go. So, for our next test, we're going to double check our MekHQ client settings so we're not accidentally screwing ourselves over. But for our next test, only gunnery should level. Okay, I thought I unticked that, so we're going to close out of here. We're going to go back in there, make sure that isn't broken. It's not, okay. So only gunnery and piloting should level. Okay, good, good, good. Everything, all right, so next up, we're gonna go in and we're gonna de-level him in a second. Actually, no, we don't need to de-level him. We're now gonna level up artillery. So artillery at the end of this month should now be 5. Just wait for it to load over. This is a new month. Okay, artillery. It appears that we haven't actually given him artillery, so nothing leveled up. Let's try that again, shall we? I promise, I know what I'm doing. All right, there's artillery. All right, let's do this again. Watch him just like die of like heart attack or something, just to screw us. Okay, artillery is now 5, so that's working. So next up, we're going to go into client options, and we now want it to level a scouting skill to a new month. So this should level sensor operations and nothing else. It did. Okay, so far so good. Will all of them work? Okay, so now we know that's working. We're going to do escape skills. So escape skills should be acting. Acting is the one here that should now go to 5. And I can already see it has. We're making progress. And I keep going to the wrong place. And there's a reason why we're leaving them all on. I'll show you that in a second. But leadership is the next one. Let's go to new month. And leadership should be 5. It is. Okay, okay. Let's wait for that to load through. Training. So training is this one here. This should be 5. It is. Wait for it to load through. There we go. Client options. I think the last one is strategy and tactics. Let me just check that I've got strategy, tactics, and strategy. There we go. Okay. Strategy didn't. Tactics did. Okay. So we know we have a bug. So let's close out of here. It would have saved the day before, but now we know that we've got an issue here because it only trained tactics. Okay, so process skills is train others. If is target skills add tactics. Ah, here we go. There we go. That should fix that. So if we go back to the load last save, this should have reserved or preserved the campaign just prior to the final day of the month, which will then allow us just to hit advanced day once, and that should train up strategy and tactics. Okay, so strategy is 0 and tactics is 4+. Okay, it didn't, it saved it. Let me edit person. So tactics, let's de-level tactics down to 0. There we go. Okay, it's advanced day. It's thinking about it. There we go. Again, tactics and strategy, all good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, now everything's selected, that's what we want. We're going to add a couple of extra skills. First off, we're going to go ahead and add forgery. This is another escape skill. And we're also going to add, no, I think stealth is all classified as a, all right, let us add, trying to think, tracking. Tracking is a scouting skill. 1 second. Okay, so we're going to go into client options. And we're going to go and test the... Here. We're on the wrong screen. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for catching that, Pink Bully. So we've increased quick train target from 5 to 7. And that's really important because what's going to happen here is we have acting and forgery, which are both escape skills. Forgery should go up to acting should go up to 7. Forgery shouldn't change at all because it should prioritize the highest skill of the two. Similarly, sensor operations and tracking are both scouting skills. We should see sensor operations go up to level 7 and tracking skills shouldn't go up at all. So let's advance to a new month. And this is just verifying that the prioritization is correct. So tracking is 2. Okay. Sensor operations is 1, tracking is 2. So that's all good. And this also has the added benefit is we now know that the changing the target number works. But what we're also going to do is we're going to lower the target number, at which point nothing should level. So we lower it down to 3, and if we go to new month, nothing should level. And I am not seeing anything leveled. So this feature's correct. This is good. We're done. Fantastic. And for those of you who joined halfway through, we've done a few things. First up, we've improved quick train so that you have some option over the quick training. So you can choose what skills you want to do. Combat skills are always included. As it says here, combat skills are always included. We've also gone in, added some MekHQ client options so that you can also adjust it in here for the new for quick train when it runs on the first day of each month, if you have that option enabled. So let's close out of this. There's one tiny little thing I want to do. Really, very, very small. We're going to go ahead and just make it sure that it is abundantly obvious that combat skills that are tied to the character's profession are included. Forks Arrow says, looks like I'll be grabbing today's nightly. I cannot guarantee this will be in tonight's nightly. If I jump over to Safari, I'll show you why. So if I go to the pull requests, so pull requests are every change that's been contributed. And if you see my little owl here, and if I scroll down, you see all of them. Because I post so many changes, it means it takes a little time for my stuff to get merged. So yeah, you have to wait a little bit. expression. Perfect. I don't like using courses multiple times. There we go. That's let me just double check, because some dialogues we have to escape the apostrophe, some we don't, and that's why you'll sometimes see additional apostrophes where we really don't want them. So we just need to verify this one more time. I was in IntelliJ, I forgot to switch over. I'm now going to MekHQ. I really need to find a better way to remember to switch between screens. What am I doing? We're going to load last save. You might also wonder why we didn't test the manual running. We're going to do that in a second. Might as well do that now because we need to come into that anyhow. But everything is looking pretty good. So here's our heroic mech warriors. Quick train them. Boop. Let's quick train them all the way up to 10. And we want them to improve everything. They're not going to improve artillery because we haven't actually got artillery enabled on this campaign. And it looks like those skills only go up to 8, not 10. So that's good. Everything's fine. Everything works. Everything works. We did it great because everything works. What did I change here? Fix a minor bug. And then we added some clarifying text. And with that, we are feature complete. Let's push that bad boy. No. What we're going to do first, we're going to slip over to Safari. And we are going to make sure that our repo is up to date first. Because there's been a lot of changes. As we move into the final days of versions 51.0's dev cycle, a lot of stuff gets merged. And there's no point in pushing an out-of-date version. GitHub will fix it, it's not a problem, but it just makes it cleaner. So now we're heading back to IntelliJ. Boobity boop. And we're going to update main. And then once it finishes updating, we're just going to merge it in, and then we're going to push those changes. And push that. There we go. And next up, we need to go over to Safari. And while we're waiting for the build to push, we're just going to go and find out if there's anything in the queue for Quick Train. I know there's at least one. Let's see what's available. Settings for Quick Train. Quick Train appears always on. Ooh, that's interesting. The option to limit skill trait to yes. Okay. That's not relevant to Quick Train. But let's have a look at that. Okay, they want buttons. We can add. Okay, that's a completely separate thing, but that's something we could add. That'd be interesting. In fact, I'm going to pop this over here, and we can see what we can do. But this gives us a couple of issues we can close up. So settings for Quick Train. Quick Train appears always on. We're going to double check that in a second. Move you over there. Okay, so that's the first one. Boop. We'll come back to you. Add option to limit skill types. We've already done that. My autism demands... Oh God, what am I doing? My autism demands that case numbers are in the right order. I'm not entirely sure if that's autism or me just being anally retentive. Quick train always appears on. Okay, so this says that quick train is always on. So we are going to very quickly so I don't think this is a genuine bug. We are, however, going to check it. So we can do that by going to... We're going to do two checks. First, we're going to check when it processes. So process quick training, we have two calls to that. That's nice and simple. Get rid of you. First off, we're going to check, are we option gating this? We are. Next one, are we option gating this? This isn't an option gated thing, so that's fine. Our next objective is to make sure that we are in fact returning the right value. I'm in the wrong screen. There we go. Okay, so we got the right constant. By default, it's false. Is that option? Yeah, that's correct. So let's go into MekHQ options. Let's make sure that everything is as it should be. But I don't think this is a valid bug report. But if a player's taking time to write a bug report, even if we don't think it's valid, it's only respectful to check. And so that's what we're going to do. So we're over in MekHQ. Now, right now, quick train is on new day is going to be turned on because that's the option I personally use. You can see that's on. We're going to turn it off. We're going to click OK. We're going to come back into MekHQ options, and we're going to check it's still off. It is still off. I'm going to close out of here. I'm going to go back in. And we're just going to make sure it's off. My suspicion is that the player has staff in training lances, and the training lances are improving them, not quick train. And quick train's still off. I'm going to turn it back on because I like it on. Okay, so that's confirmed that bug isn't valid. So let's head back over to Safari and we're going to respond. Oh, I really can't spell. Investigated this. I double checked at the option gate. That stops quick train running if the option is off, is set up correctly. I also verified that turning the option on, off works properly. Do we have a save? We do. Aha, what is most likely happening is that characters are getting age-based bonuses, which are enough to move them to the next stage, or next experience milestone. Turn off age-based modifiers in campaign options. So that I think is correct. However, like I say, it behooves us to double check, and if they've provided their campaign save, so we are going to go ahead and open it. Shut time. And you can see, because it's got the part 1 at the end of this, they've actually created this campaign save using the special system that allows me to open up the campaign. Even they report a bug button. We're not going to open up the campaign itself because I know what the option is called. So we're just going to, oh no, I need to, one second, I need to unpack the revamping. Let's try that again. There we go. And we're looking for age-based modifiers. Age. My aging. I say that I know the variable name, and now I'm questioning it. Age effects. There we are. Okay, so they do have age effects turned on. So heading back over to Safari. To accounts. So we just want to add a thing like if the player thinks I'm mistaken in closing this case, they can just contact us. They know they can just get it reopened. It means that they don't feel like they're just being dismissed. There we go. So we've added options to quick train, both manual and automatically run, to allow players to adjust what skills There we go. Alrighty, so that took a bit longer than I was hoping for, just because there was a lot to go over and a lot that needs to be done. But this is a significant change, and I'm really happy we took the time to do this. The next thing I want to do is we're going to head over to Discord again, and we are going to go ahead and just notify anybody who reads this thread where they're requesting this information that it has been done. And did I log that? I did, okay. So this is just notifying people who just happen to be passing that, hey, here's the request we got, here's the work that we've done. Post not option. We should also, before we log out, we should send them a screenshot, so people don't have to go into the actual change log to see what the issue is. So first up, MekHQ options. Oh, we should actually show the defaults. Beg your pardon. Let's copy this across. I'm gonna head back over to MekHQ because I don't want you guys to be staring at Discord And we're just going to go into MekHQ very quickly so I can get a screenshot of how it looks in game. We've probably got about half an hour left on stream. If you've been following along and you haven't already, please consider hitting the follow button so you can be notified when we go live in future. We will be doing another dev stream tomorrow. We do dev streams 4 times a week: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Let us create a company real quick so we can have an administrator. And then Friday evening, my time, you can check the schedule for your time. We also have our ongoing MekHQ campaign, which it's proving to be a lot of fun. There we go, that's what we're looking for. So head back over to Discord. Let's paste this. There we go. Dum, dum, dum. All right, so that's a big project. I'm not wholly sure what we want to crack on now for the last half an hour, because I've already gone through the bug queue and there isn't a lot in there that I can tackle in half an hour. So how about we switch over to Safari? I can see that we've received some changes from other people. Let's have a look. Fixed children still having portraits. So you may remember from last week, we added an option so that children wouldn't be given portraits, but it seems to be mucked up a little bit. The campaign option to have default portrait for children that was introduced in PR blah does not work properly. Whoops-a-doodles. The underlying reason is a call to is child is used to determine if a new person is a child. However, at birth, the person is created first, including portrait, and only then is the birth date for the person set. Oh, I thought I fixed that. Oh well. This PR fixed the issue for checking if the new option is active after the birth date is set. There is still a check for his child, since with historic births, the baby may have been born many years earlier than the current date in the campaign, and could now be at an age where the portrait should be added. If the campaign option is used and the person is still a child, default portrait is used. Okay, good. Just checking all this. That's all good. Perfect. So we'd go ahead and improve this. I had a comment. Whoopsie doodles. And now that's done, we can merge it. Shazam. Is there anything else in the queue we can take a butcher's out? I think I saw one from Psycho. How big is this? Oh, I see. This is something that Psycho Monkey is taking a look at, so I'm not going to snatch that out of the queue. But we do have this one from HackinDoc that I reviewed yesterday. And what they're doing is just having it so that in your financial report and the finances table, if there's a field that it doesn't have any money attached, like it's 0 value, it's just not going to show it. There we go. They're just doing some final changes for me, so we can go ahead and we can improve that. Just a comment. Thanks. There we go. See, and this is why my stuff ends up in the queue for so long, because when it comes to somebody else's contributions, I'm one of the most active on the team, so I'm just like straight on it, get it done. But then I have to wait for somebody else to be available to review my stuff. This particular one is some really, really cool changes. Let me see if they've included any screenshots of the changes. They haven't. This is going to be massive. It's a really nice visual update to the little panel in the top right left-hand corner. This one up here that shows your planet. It's a really, really cool change. I've roped Psycho Monkey into that one because they are doing some other code in a similar location, and I don't want the two conflicting, so it made sense to have Hockvale, the author, and Psycho Monkey talk to each other, liaise, make sure no one's stepping on each other's toes. And here we have that awesome briefing room update that was discussed. I think this has now been fixed because I had some changes I want to request. So yeah, so look at this. Look at this. This is the new briefing room. How freaking cool is this? This is the kind of stuff we can do when we actually have someone on the team who likes the UI work. So you've got the contract details right in the middle. You've got your scenario stuff. You've got your briefing room. You've got tabs up here for assignment and history. So let's go back to these. Do we have a picture? We don't have a picture of assignment, bugger. But I have seen it. The assignments allow you to dictate. Easy Retribution says pick is already slightly out of date. Pretty sure we need some more tweaks. Well, there's an easy way to find that out, isn't there? So let's go. Looks like, just double checking, he has done. Yep, so the author has done the changes I wanted. I'm going to very quickly come in and just make sure, go back to there, make sure that the conversation's been come in. So he's gone through. I'm checking specifically for my changes. Yeah, okay. So they've gone through and actioned everything. So at that point, we are going to flip this over to approve. A nice little comment for them. So what we're doing, we're approving it, and we're going to merge it, and then we can see what the final version looks like in the real. And I adore showing up other people's work because I'm so proud of everything everybody does, even the small stuff. Like we recently had a new contributor join the team who's been doing some, I don't want to say small stuff because that makes it sound very like I'm dismissing what they're doing. They've been doing some pretty cool stuff, but they're just starting out, and it just makes me remember how I was when I was a baby, when I was a young warthog, still working my way through the code base. I didn't even know where anything lived, and I just remember those days, and now I'm a grizzled war veteran, and it's fun seeing people come into the project in the position I was a few years back. Okay, so we've now updated MekHQ, so now it includes the new briefing room. So how about we load ourselves up a save, and we take a look-ski. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to load up the Scrotorious Bastards, because that will have an actual campaign state that is active with scenarios and all that good stuff. As soon as MekHQ loads. So let me just go to here, and we want checkpoint 2 because that's the most recent one. It also reminds me I need to make a backup of that. I'll get that done. So we're drawing pretty close to the end. Tira says, oh, could you do a quick favor and check what machine Flash Fried is piloting? I want to see the chassis. Oh yeah, we can do that. Let's do that first. I have to remember which tab has their call sign. There we go. Flash Fried. So going to retain my selection. It is. Flash Fried is in a locust. Oh, we're on the wrong screen? Of course we are. Sorry. I'm gonna try my hardest to get better at that. I'm really sorry, my team. But yeah, Flash Fried is in a goddamn locust. We need to give Flash Fried a better rig. But that said, she is a 7-7 pilot. Yeah, she's not the best, but she is in our hearts. Let's head over to the Wolfhound. Yes. Okay, so let's head over to the briefing room. So this is what the new briefing room looks like. So here on the left, we have our... I mean, seeing the shit Flash Fried's pulled off, she is like the stereotypical Locust pilot. Like, I think what we need to get is Flash Fried. We need to give her a hunchback. She is definitely in the locust to hunchback pipeline. So here we see on the left, you've got the details of the contract. It is so pretty. In the middle, we've got the active scenarios. So these are the only the scenarios that are currently active. So you're not seeing the full list. And if we click on one of them, you get all the juicy details. We've also got assignments, so you can see what's been assigned, or what's the assignment for the contract. And it's also down here you can, so these are the deployment requirements, and also you've got how you can specify what role each is in. And how pretty is this? How good is this? And you've got all the extra buttons at the top. This is, and we, if we had, here's where the other contracts would be if I had any. But this is fantastic. Radar says this new briefing room gives me vibes of MekHQ Mercs. Yeah, no, this is, considering this is the contributors' first return to the project. They've been involved in the project for a while, but this is them first coming back. Like, this is, I am so incredibly pleased with what they've done. Now, I'm going to leave this screen for a second because I'm going to check to see if something that they showed is in a public channel. Because there's another thing they've done, and I'm hoping it's in a public channel. Because if it's in a public channel, I can show it to you. Let's see. Because they're working on an update to campaign options. And I'm really hoping that they've posted it in a public channel. Because obviously if they've not done it in a public channel, I'm not going to show off because I haven't got time to ask for their permission. Just in Discord, so I'm just scrolling through. Rearrange briefing room. Is it in here? Damn it. Doesn't look like it. Okay, well, I can't show you because I don't want to start clicking through channels till I can find it, because there might be something that I don't want you guys to see. So I can't show it to you now, but what I will do is I will try and get permission to show it to you tomorrow. Because what they've done with the campaign options is basically what they've done is what I wanted to do when we made campaign options 2C. Now, campaign options 2C was the my first ever switch back to the very juicy, briefing room. But yeah, so this is the new look briefing room, and what they're doing with campaign options, it is what I wanted to do. So Radar says, so this will be campaign options 2C2. BZ Retribution says, what's up? Something I can answer? No, we were talking about what Alitair has done, what it is doing with the new campaign options UI. But it doesn't look like it's in a public channel, so I can't show you anything yet. And what I'll do tomorrow is I will see about getting permission so I can show you on stream tomorrow what they're working on. It is very, very early. They've been working on it for maybe a day or two. But like I say, what they're doing with campaign options is just as cool a rework as all this. And some of the stuff they're doing is literally stuff we wanted. All of us, when we were working on campaign options 2C, wanted it, but I couldn't do it. Because campaign options 2C was literally me learning in real time how to work with our UI. It was literally the first bit of UI work I'd ever done. That was my own work. So there was a lot that we wanted to do that I just simply couldn't do. And if anybody was involved on the Discord of MekHQ at the time, the MekHQ campaign options 2C was a real collaborative work where we had a lot of back and forth with the community to try and get things working right. And so I am very excited to see the next evolution. And should it be campaign options 2C2? I'm not sure. I think this might be campaign options 2C-A. This is going to be the A loadout. But really, other than that, there's not really much more we've got time for today. I'm looking at it, and we can look at the juicy briefing room some more. But really, there's not a lot we've got time for. So I know it's a little bit early, but we'll switch over to the ending soon screen. Shazam. And just while we're kind of winding up, if anybody has any questions, now's a good time to ask. When we'll be streaming? We'll be streaming 4 hours ago tomorrow. That'll be our next stream. It's going to be another dev stream. I'm not wholly sure what we're going to do tomorrow. Oh, interesting. Radar says, well, only clan omnis use letter variants, while 2Cs tend to use numbers. Yeah, I guess it would be CO2C-2. Good to know. I should know that, really, considering the Hunchback 2C is one of my all-time favorite mechs. I love the Suicide Sled. Or, I suppose it's not the Suicide Sled, but I love the Hunchback 2C. It's so dumb. It doesn't have any ammo, but my god, is it going to make its presence known. Yeah. You know, I enjoyed today's stream. And I hope you guys did too. I know working in the UI is not the most exciting, but I like to think that this option is something that's going to make a lot of people happy. BC Retribution says you don't need ammo if the enemy is dead. So correct. And I hope the new mic setup has resulted in better audio, because I know the audio before, it wasn't awful. It wasn't like the first week where we sounded like a Call of Duty lobby. But I do hope it has improved, because I am trying to keep the stream as high quality as I can for you. Pink Bully says UI changes are great. Making UI changes are not. That is absolutely correct. UI changes are perhaps one of the things that improve the experience for the user the most, but decrease the experience for the developer the most. It's a bit of a reverse. Radar says the Hunchback 2C, all the firepower of a battleship with the ammunition of a fart. I'm not sure the clans would appreciate us calling the Hunchback the Shart 2C. But yeah, I have to repeat myself. If you are listening and you're not following, hit the follow button. You're going to get yourself a unique flash fried emote. And if you're enjoying what we're doing and you want to support the channel more, then subscriptions are always welcome. Now, I don't want anybody to ever feel like they have to subscribe. But while it might not seem it, putting on these streams does take a lot of energy for me. So if you do want to subscribe, it would be appreciated. And obviously, they're free, displaying their proud flash fried emote. Glad you're happy with us, obvious. But yeah, I think at this point we're 10 minutes to the hour, so I do think I'm gonna have myself an early exit. I mean, I say early exit. I'm not stopping working. I'm probably going to go do some dinner. I think I'm going to bake some home-baked pizzas today. I was going to do chicken Alfredo, but I've been vetoed. People want the pizza, and I can understand that. I want the pizza too. So we'll be having pizza tonight. So I'm going to go and start making that in a few minutes. But then I'm going to be back on the MekHQ Discord because I never leave, and to get a few more things done today. But yeah, I will see you fine folks tomorrow. And I hope the rest of your day is enjoyable. And I hope the world isn't getting you down. And if it is, you know, best thing you can do is just carry on doing your best. Just keep on keeping on. There's the old proverb, this too shall change. And it is a powerful proverb. It reminds us that the good times will one day come to an end, and that's okay. And the bad times, they will too. Another sayism I like to say, and this is one that's really helped me during some very hard times in my life. And I can't pronounce the Latin, so you'll have to stick up with the English, but it translates roughly to be patient and strong, for one day this pain will be of use to you. So if you are struggling out there, and this is a hard old world, so if you are struggling, just remember, just be patient. Just stick your heels in the ground, endure. And one day the strength you gain from that endurance will help you in life. But until then, good night and farewell. And may all your hits crit. Good night.